Hi guys, Nikola Radin podcast number 40, and because it's a round number, I have today a special pleasure to have here not only two great professionals, but also two very close friends of mine, people that I admire a lot. First next to me is Mestre Orlando Neto, one of the greatest Brazilian Jiu Jitsu trainers in the whole Europe, the guy who is born and raised in Rio de Janeiro, the guy who is running Roger Gracie Academy here in Vienna. Already for 10 years he's spreading the idea of Brazilian Jiu Jitsu here and in the countries around. Thanks for coming, Orlando.
My pleasure.
Thanks, Mestre. And next to him, the man who was already, Richard Staudner, was already a guest in my podcast last summer. A great performance and strength coach, the guy who is working with an incredible professional athletes and preparing them for their big events. Ricardo, thanks that you are again a guest in Nikola Radin podcast.
Thank you so much.
The first one that we made in summer was actually a quite big success because people were commenting on that and were very happy with the talk we had. A lot of people wrote me and said that they learned so much from you about physical strength, about conditioning. Today we are also going to talk a lot about a life, about not only about sport, not only about how do you work, guys, with your athletes, but how do we all live in this so-called challenging time. I would rather call it confusing times. I also have to say I'm sorry to my viewers. We are not native English speakers, none of us. My mother tongue is Serbian, his is Brazilian, over here is German mixed with Serbian. So please excuse us if we are going to make some mistakes considering English grammar or English language at all. How are you doing, guys? Ricardo, what is it? You're hiding this bag over there.
But this is my present.
For us.
Yeah, look at this. For you guys.
Oh, for we both, nice.
Yes. I brought
Thank
two
you.
UFC caps.
Very cool.
This one is from Las Vegas, last fight against Anthony Smith we had with Alexander Rakic.
All right.
And this one is from Korea, Busan against
One
Volkan.
better than another. So I'm gonna let Mestre Orlando choose which one he prefers for himself.
You sure you don't want to choose? Yeah, so I take the blue one.
It's okay.
It's more fresh. I'm gonna wear in summer.
Yeah,
Yes.
for summer. This one
Yes,
is the winter
I will
version.
take the black one.
Okay.
I already have one black, but
Okay.
with white letters.
Yeah.
So this is gonna be.
No problem. If
Oh no, I love this one. I'm happy with this.
all right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you
You're
very
welcome.
much.
You're welcome.
Thank you
You're
very
welcome.
much, Ricardo. It's actually it's such a nice gesture. For people who do not know Orlando, well, when we are by the presence, I have to say in the last episode when I made like the last 4 years of Nikola Radin channel in one video, I have promised 2 gifts, and we have chosen the winners. So this hoodie by UFC Alexander Rakic was won by Vuk Orlandic, so congratulations to him. And the Nate Diaz UFC t-shirt was won by Alexa J. Dot. Back to my guests. Orlando, can you please tell to our viewers a short, like a brief story about you? Like, you were born and raised in Rio de Janeiro. You started with Jiu Jitsu very early. How was it? How was the life actually in Rio and in Brazil?
Yeah, talk more
Back
about
in the
like
days.
the life side. When I was around 4 years old, like my stepfather started taking me to the Carson Gray School. At the time, there was not that many students. It was not so like Jiu-Jitsu was not like it is today, like this large scale of tournaments and that. And so, but the Carson Gray was like the temple of the Jiu-Jitsu. So I had the opportunity to. I was going there to watch him train, to wait for him. He was taking care of me. I was waiting for him, and then after that, we were going to have an ice cream or whatever, and going to the beach or whatever. So like I grew up like watching the old school black belts raising in that temple of Jiu-Jitsu that it was in Copacabana, in the street that called Figueiredo Magalhães. You had the opportunity to.
Yes, I know exactly
there.
where it is.
Yeah. So I was going there to wait for my stepfather to train, so I could go somewhere else. My idea was not to start training jiu-jitsu.
You were 4 years old back
Exactly,
in the days, right?
exactly. And then like the time was passing, there was not so many kids class there, you know. And then like they stopped playing with me in the jiu-jitsu, so my stepfather could train. So I was like playing, you know.
Yeah.
And the time went passing. I started like in the kids class, start training with kids class, and then like stopped training for a while, and then I really started with 13 years old. Yeah, by then I was already living in another district very far away. Rio de Janeiro is really big, so like one district to other sometimes looks like a city to other here in Austria. It's really big place. And yeah, so like basically make it shortly, once I got my black belt like 18 years ago, yeah, I got my black belt, I started coming to Europe just to do seminars. Like I was one of the first black belts like around Europe, and that the first place I went was to Poland. When I arrived there, I asked who else came here, that there was 2 black belts that was already visited Poland. They didn't stay there, but they visited Poland.
Right.
So I was the 3rd one to visit Poland. And Poland nowadays is a big center of jiu-jitsu in Europe.
Yes, and not only in jiu-jitsu, also in the whole fighting world,
yeah,
yes.
yeah. So like jiu-jitsu, there are a lot of native black belts there. And also, of course, the British are also very strong, and nowadays many other countries.
Of course.
So I start coming. I was very young, black belt. I start coming to Europe, making seminars, coming back to Rio, and this going back. Until one day that a friend of mine that was one of the pioneers in the MMA in Austria. That was Lincoln.
Lincoln Rodriguez, yes.
Lincoln was going to train with me in Munich in Germany. He was going often there for the weekends to train, to learn, to prepare himself to his fights. But then he was going and come back. He was driving a lot. Just to train. He was driving a lot. And I said, man, Orlando, I can't travel to you anymore. Please come to me. And that he started like convincing me to stay here in Vienna and that was the beginning, how everything started. So it was more or less like every Brazilian black belt trainer that had the dream to teach outside Brazil. You know, I had lived in America before, and I had traveled around before, and I wanted to establish myself in Europe to teach jiu-jitsu. And so, like, the stories are almost very similar to all black belts. They from Brazil, they always want more or less the same. They have more or less the same plans and
to open up an own gym.
Yeah, and to start working outside Brazil. A lot of like the best trainers in the world are in America and Europe, and
exactly.
Yeah, some in Brazil as well. But many of them they want to spread around, and that's why the jiu-jitsu is what it is today. Like all over the world. Sometimes you're gonna travel, I go to this small island here in the middle of the Atlantic and nobody's gonna be there. And then when you see, man, somebody's here and somebody's here training jiu-jitsu, and he has a big group of jiu-jitsu.
Yes.
And there's a curious fact, I went to Thailand lately. Like in Brazil, it's not so common, we don't travel to Thailand so much. A lot of guys go to surf in Bali, but Thailand is not a destination for the Brazilian guys and guys from Rio and that. Usually when they go to surf to Bali and that, but they don't go so much to Thailand. Here in Europe is something very common. People go a lot to Thailand. Then I went to Thailand and I said, man, I go to train a little bit of Thai box. I'm here in Thailand. I want to move myself a little bit, to train a little bit.
In a different way, yeah.
In a different way, yeah. I want to try a little bit with one local guy here. And that. When I went to the gym, and like the jiu-jitsu class was packed, was full. Like was around 50, 60 people training with many black belts all over the world. And like on the Thai box, there was one guy doing private classes. Yeah, of course, maybe I went at the time of the jiu-jitsu class. But anyway, like there was one guy doing Thai box class, doing pads there. One, I think, was a German guy doing private class, and the Thai box jiu-jitsu class. I said, man, no. First, I'm gonna train jiu-jitsu. Later, I make a private of Thai box. I train Thai box a little bit, but first I have to train jiu-jitsu. That many black belts and that. Wow. And the trainer there, a friend of mine, then he said, "Hey Orlando, here is like life is so cheap, and the weather is always hot. Some people, like some young guys, just finished university or just got the black belt. They come here with the money from the pocket. They stay 6 months, 1 year here training, and then after they go back to their hometown and that." And I met some Austrian people. Yeah, I met a lot of people in the jiu-jitsu dojo, man. So that's what happened. Like so many Brazilians spread the jiu-jitsu over the world. Everything thanks God, thanks to Grace family that is responsible for all of that.
For all that rise of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Yeah, that's very interesting. We're going to come back to the story of growing of your experience and growing of your gym here in Austria. That it's already more than 10 years actually that you're doing it. But shortly to Ricardo, I like to call him Richard, Ricardo, whatever people call him, Richie. So I probably whenever I'm gonna call your name, it's gonna be different. But it's gonna go, yeah, but it's gonna go in the same direction. Ricardo, you are like someone who is into sports, into physical and conditioning, strength training, etc., etc. You work with so many athletes, with the professional athletes, but somehow lately in the last couple of years, or maybe even in the last 10 years so far as I know, you're concentrating on a physical preparation mostly for the combat sports and martial arts. Is that correct? How did you end up there? I mean, you are also one who really likes and appreciates jiu-jitsu, and are you a blue belt or purple belt? Right?
No, I'm a blue belt, but I do jiu-jitsu since 10 years. So
nice.
When you come to Austria?
I came to Austria 2009, 12 years ago.
Yeah, it was something. I think around this time I started. I started with Gracie also in Vienna, but with
with
Pasoka.
Yeah.
Yes, was my first teacher.
It's a long time. Yeah,
my first master, and then
is he still in Vienna now, right?
He's in Austria, but not in Vienna. Yeah.
He's now riding horses.
Oh, really?
Yeah, different lifestyle. Now.
So he was your first jiu-jitsu coach,
yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm.
Look, I did this. I was watching UFC, Randy Couture, and this time, and I was thinking, oh my God, what is this guy doing on the ground? And I think, I like it. I like wrestling, for example. I love wrestling, and I see, but they doing chokes and things like this. I've never seen that before. So I start to go to Google and check out what they're doing. Okay, it's called BJJ, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. I want to do that. And I was thinking this should be not a problem. There must be a school in Austria or Vienna.
Yeah.
But there was only one. It was Sandro Pasoka. And I go
was
there.
Purple belt at the time.
He was a purple belt at the time.
Blue belt. Yeah.
Purple.
Yeah.
Yes,
When I came, I was the first black belt.
Yes, he was the first black belt. And I started with him, and there I met also my last teacher is Antonio Stanic from Atos now. He was also
my student.
He built him up.
Yes.
This guy, he's one of the best in Austria. Yeah. And I remember I submit him in one training 3-4 times because he started and he didn't understood why he can submit me.
Submit who?
Antonio. It was his
first
day.
I'm gonna ask him that.
This was his first day in jiu-jitsu. I was
Anyway,
already
he's
6 months
talented.
there. But the problem is, I'm a guy, I'm switching always. So after 1 year of jiu-jitsu, I switched to CrossFit. After CrossFit, I switched to MMA, back to jiu-jitsu. I'm doing always like this. So I'm just a blue belt, but I did the most of the time I trained no-gi. But jiu-jitsu is, I would say, is my favorite combat sport. I love it.
Yeah.
Boxing I also love, but jiu-jitsu I love most. And we trained also.
Why is that? Why do you like it the most from all combat sports or from all martial arts?
Every fight ends on the ground, and I want to be prepared for this. And I love the contact with the opponent. I love this. I love this this style of it's like chess.
Yeah,
like it's like a strategic game. This is what I love. You can be 10 minutes. I have a competition here, the submission grappling tournament in Vienna. I was in the finals against the guy with 110 kilos, 10 kilo more than me. and he was throwing me around for 10 minutes. It was submission only, 15 minutes. And in this time I was thinking, oh my God, my girlfriend stands outside there. And first time I bring a girl to a competition, and this guy is throwing me around on the floor. He's like cleaning the floor with my body. And after 10 minutes, he gets tired. And I was fresh. And I submit him with a Kimura. And there I realized this is the best competition. This is the best typical fight you can do.
I think this question that Nikola did, it made it's very complex. Why do you like jiu-jitsu? It's very my question that is very hard to answer. Like you said, because the competition that. Because the fight end up on the floor. Maybe it's not only the fight.
You are right. It's
the whole thing. It's the friendship. You know, like the guys who train other martial arts. You see the guys all running for their performance. I'm here, I'm there. And the jiu-jitsu is something that can be for everybody. You know, you want to compete. You want to test yourself. You just want to feel better self-confidence. You wanna learn how to protect yourself, or you wanna make friends. You want a new lifestyle. I have students that they come the first day in the gym, they are afraid to talk with me, to shake my hand, and they come shaking. Okay, now we don't shake hands because of Corona, but even before, even before
you see the respect, you feel
he was coming, and then I had to approach to come to him, to give him a hug. I say, hey, relax, come here, do the way you feel like, whatever you feel comfortable, come here. And then
this is important.
It's very important. So, like when we ask, why to train jiu-jitsu, that there are so many reasons that we can talk why to train jiu-jitsu. That it's very complex. Sometimes then you are saying, because I fought there and I felt that. But I'm sure that is not only this that brings you to train jiu-jitsu. Is the whole environment that you enjoy. That is different. It's singular. You know,
in the club where I train now, sometimes it's like a family. Everywhere is like a family.
Yes,
people stay normally with their club for years, sometimes for lifetime.
It's more. I think there is more respect inside the mat. There is more friendship. We hug each other because we train in contact. When we have to take care of our partner, and that it brings us.
Very important.
It brings us a lot like together, a lot of like a family, and that. So like I have students, lawyers, doctors, and that. So.
Yeah.
I need a lawyer, I'm gonna call my student. I need a doctor, I'm gonna call my student. I need somebody to help me on my preparation, physical, that I'm gonna call my student. Hey, can you give me help here? So I think it brings it so much, you know.
Yeah, it becomes like a tribe. It becomes like like a tribe.
No doubt. I was a little bit criticized some years ago. Hey, Orlando, why you don't like MMA and that? It's not that I don't like MMA, you know. It's just because like the jiu-jitsu was growing in a certain way that I had to take a track what was not only better for me and what bring me back to my roots, where I come from. I was born doing that, and so I couldn't take care of like both sides, like take care of training the guy to fight MMA and training like in large scale of students to train jiu-jitsu and to make the best for them to do the best for them to train jiu-jitsu. I couldn't also take care of MMA, and that it's very hard to do both in a perfect way with excellence on both
But
ways.
I think you have also had success in this because you coached Maybach Tesumov.
No doubt. Becca, he's my student since long time, since I came to Europe. Lincoln passed him to me. He started with Lincoln passed him to me. Of course, he has his parallel trainings. He travel a lot to train. He's always searching for the best training and that. So I have Becca, I have Menzo Alice, I have a couple other guys. Like it's a small group of guys that they grow up with me and they fight MMA. But it's not that I'm focused. I can't have a focus on MMA. So every time like Becca visits, he knows that it's his house. He goes there. If it's a gi class, he's gonna put his gi. If it's a no gi class, he's gonna train no gi. He's respect the mat. He train exactly on our rules, the way we do it. Of course, I help him as much as I can, and the others well. But we have a jiu-jitsu school. My goal is to offer the best what I can to the people that are there to train Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, the ways I learn. So.
Yeah, my experience, for example, was when I started with Jiu Jitsu at Orlando's, that you mentioned that, self-confidence. For example, I'm not a guy who is not self-confident, but you can always go more and more. And that's exactly what happened to me when
Maybe
I
you are
started.
the opposite. You are too confident.
No, I wasn't too confident. I wasn't too. I think you're never too confident, you know.
Yeah.
But those were the days actually where I felt the best, probably in my life. The best with my body, the best with my mind. I felt extremely healthy, and I felt extremely resistant on physical and on possible mental problems that I can have. Unfortunately, I had twice a shoulder injury that scared me a little bit. It didn't scare me because of pain, it didn't scare me because the injuries are scary things, it scared me because do the work I do as a manual therapist, when I have that kind of injury, that means a fucking lockdown for me for the couple of months, you know, so I cannot live and I cannot earn and I cannot work, right? That was a huge problem for me, and I miss these days so much, and I didn't give up. I can tell you that now. I must be back on the mats, no matter when, and that's what the Brazilian Jiu Jitsu gave me the most, of course, and in the first place, a lot of beautiful people, a lot of great friends that I have met. And one of them, I have to say his name now. His name is Marcelo Alves. He is a very good friend of ours. He's a Brazilian guy who lives in Vienna, a very good friend of Orlando and mine. And this is going to be like a little commercial now in the middle of something. Marcelo Alves is the man who was a chef in a lot of Brazilian embassies. He's an amazing cook, amazing experienced chef. He just took a new restaurant here in Vienna in the 2nd district, very close to Praterstrasse. The restaurant is called Kiss the Cook. And once again, the name of the chef is Marcelo Alves. This is going to be probably the first totally authentic restaurant, a Brazilian restaurant in Vienna and in Austria. They're making a fantastic food. And besides that, now, of course, because of Corona, the restaurant is, I think, closed for another couple
Only
of...
for the liver, huh?
But now it's only for the liver, but they do all these feijoada and stuff. So guys, if you're in Vienna or when you are about to come in Vienna, please check out Marcelo Alves and his restaurant, Kiss the Cook. He's a great friend of ours and a great professional, and by the way, a great Brazilian Jiu Jitsu fighter.
He's European champion, no gi.
He's European. Yes, Marcelo is, by the way, on the top of it. Yeah. That he's the guy who was cooking for many presidents and all these special.
I told him now you have to be champion again, because otherwise they're gonna say he was lucky. The first time everybody said was lucky.
How old is he?
Marcelo is around 40. No, he's no. He's already 43 or 44.
Yeah, something like that.
Marcelo is
in
not
his category master. He was European champion master, blue belt.
Yes, in Lisbon, like 2 or 3 years ago, right?
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Very great guy. You have to meet. We go together when this.
I live in here. Which street is this?
It's in the Circusgasse.
Oh, nice! It's not.
Yeah, it's the corner. It's behind the Galaxy Tower.
Oh, fine.
Yeah, on the corner over there. It's a great place.
Marcelo studied a lot, so he has a history to be a chef, and that he studied.
But he's
like
in your school? He trains in your school?
He trained there.
Yes. He's a very tough guy, you know. I never liked to train with him a lot. And to do sparring with him. He's really like, you know, you have that kind of athletes that wherever you touch him, when you you feel the pain constantly, you know, when you do it something with him, you know. It's like he's a very, very, very difficult guy to train with and to be submitted, right? Great. He's now purple, right?
He's still blue. He's still blue.
He's still blue. Yeah. Okay.
Old blue.
Yes. But
like me.
But for example, for your athletes like Alexander Rakic, that is one of your clients, and you said that it always ends up on the ground. How far do you guys prepared in fights on the ground? Because the next fight Alexander Rakic is going to have against Santos in the March 2021. And we know that all Brazilian MMA fighters are very well prepared for the ground game, right?
I would not
What
say
is that connection?
I would not say that everybody is well prepared on the ground game. This sport comes from Brazil, and I love it. And big honor to the Gracie family, what they did for the world. And really, this is amazing what they did. It's a revolution in combat sports. But not every Brazilian is a really high class black belt on the floor. I would say Santos is a striker, for example. So his kicks are dangerous, of course. His hands are heavy, of course. So this is the biggest problem with him. So Alex is a really good ground fighter. He spends a lot of time in wrestling, and we have a new coach in the team especially for wrestling. He did those.
Let's mention his name.
Sorry,
Babak.
Babak,
Right.
thank you. Yeah. His name is Babak from Sweden, and he basically is from Iran, but Sweden.
Yes.
And he's Alex is also, since 10 years he trains Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, so he's prepared for the ground. Ground is not a problem. Of course, in MMA, they don't train or compete in the same way on the ground like in traditional Jiu Jitsu. It's different. It's a little bit faster and more dynamic, but we don't want to make a ground fight in this fight. So let's see. We are not afraid of a ground fight. Not against Santos. They are the other guys.
So probably a lot of my viewers from the Balkans are going to be very interested in which stage you are guys now, because you were my guest before Rakic his fight against Anthony Smith.
Yeah.
It all went well. He won this fight. Now we have in March Santos. What are you guys doing? How this preparation is going to work now for the next couple of months?
Yeah, everybody's talking about one thing, the lockdown or Corona, whatever.
Yes.
Of course, this is dictating all of our lives, and we don't stop training. Alexander is a high discipline sportsman, really professional. So he trains really every day, like in a normal preparation. Of course, it's different. Sometimes we train outside, or sometimes we train at home in my flat. Or in whatever, so it's allowed for international sportsmen to train with one coach, and we do this.
I'm gonna cut it all.
Yeah, but you have to make sure that it's working.
Yeah, don't worry. Yeah, it's important. Yeah, it's good that you stopped. Thank you, Miss Camera Frau. I'm not gonna cut it out anyway. So just continue where you were.
Yeah. So, for example, what we're doing, we have we just switch a little bit inside of the programming we have to do. March is far away. Alex is prepared. He could fight in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So he's in around 103 kilo, and this is really not a problem. The only thing is, what you need is sparring with high quality sparring partners in the last weeks before the fight. This is what we need. So what we will do is, again, we will go to
AT&T
in Zagreb. Yes.
Oh, okay.
We will go again ATT Zagreb, the whole team together. Around January, something like this, to prepare for this fight, and in end of February we go again, I think, to Las Vegas, because we don't know now. But
still, yes, it's not still
Las Vegas.
Yeah. Orlando, how did the COVID-19 influence your life and your gym and all that? We have it already now for 9 months or something.
Yeah, like I think almost the whole world, and at the moment we are closed, like we are not allowed to train at all, so it's complicated. It's hard for everybody, but the students are being very supportive. I have to thank all of them. They are sticking together. So we had the first lockdown a couple months ago. We came back for some months, so actually what happened, I don't know, but the gym got even more full after the first lockdown. I don't know how, but got even more people training, more people, like the gyms were very full. We had the jiu-jitsu classes from 8 in the morning until almost 10 at night, one after the other. Was like...
Yes, because you could have only 16 people, I think, on the mats at the same time, right?
Yes, we could have only 16 people at the time, and then like we had we had classes like we reached the time that we had classes non-stop, like it was one jiu-jitsu. I had to sometimes to reduce a couple other activities that we had in the gym to do only jiu-jitsu 8:30 to 9:30, 9:30 to 10:30, 10:30 to 11:30 to 12:45 to 2:45 to 4 to until going almost like was unbelievable. Yeah, so like it's growing, it doesn't stop growing. Of course it affects a lot, but the team is very good together, and we know that when we come back sooner or later, I don't know if I hope soon, the sooner better, but I'm sure that we are going to get all together again, even again more people than we had before. So affects a lot, affecting like people, like many people just start training and that they could be, it's a shame that they had to take this break, but I think they keep even more hungry inside that man, I was doing good, I had to do this break and that, and everybody's trying to find a little room at home to train with the wife. It's even good, guys. It's a good opportunity to bring a wife to the sport. And now you say, I need you. Bring your wife to train with you, and then after, when the lockdown is over, she's gonna be addicted and she's gonna come to the gym. Okay, so couple guys, they are neighbors. They looks like the law here in Vienna. You can have contact with one person, so you can have one person. So I told you, man, instead of you choose a girlfriend, choose one training partner. At least you're gonna keep the jiu-jitsu up
on point.
Okay, so everybody's doing their best to keep training. Of course, it's not the same, but we do what we can.
Yes, but you have always more and more ladies now in your practice. I saw one picture from the gym.
We have a lot of girls. Like my wife, she was a
Samantha,
Open champion now.
Yes, we have to mention her, Samantha, Orlando's wife.
She did. She did 8 tough fights, man. She was. I was looking to her. I even thought about it. I said, if you have gone to Richard, you would be even better, because she did 8.
she had 8 fights up to the goal.
8 fights. Because it was a weight and the open class. The open class, she fought with one girl and 110 kilos. I said, oh my God, it's terrible.
We have to mention Samantha not only because she's a European champion in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, not only because she's your wife,
she
not
take
only
care of the gym, she
take care of the gym, running now the ladies class. We have to mention her also because she works very hard as a nurse, full time, especially in these
she make night shifts,
Corona.
13
she makes
hours.
Night shifts for 13 hours. So what to say about that girl that we also
I'm husband, so I cannot say so much. You guys will not believe me. I'm gonna say just because it's your wife.
That's why I'm saying all these nice things,
amazing,
because I really like her and consider her a great friend of mine.
Exactly.
How about injuries? I would like to start with Richard and his point of view on injuries, and then I'm going to come to the world champion of the injuries, Orlando Neto, who had already you had 16 surgeries already in your career, right?
But I have to say one thing here. Sorry to interrupt.
No problem.
None of my surgeries was an injury. I never had an injury. Training.
Really?
Never
That's
had
the
an injury.
interesting point.
Never. Never. Since my first surgery was with 16 years old on the knee. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then after I don't even need to count all of them here because I don't even remember. But I never had one surgery because of one injury. I never hurt. You hurt on the train, you have to make a surgery. Go to the hospital, make a surgery. Never. It never happened.
No in jiu-jitsu, on sports, nothing, no?
No sports, nothing. It never happened. It was. I had a big problem with the degeneration of my joints. With 16.
But through the sports, or what do you think?
I don't know if you notice, but I brought my food there, gluten free and everything.
Yes, that's interesting.
Yeah, because I really believe, and the doctors made a couple researches and that the gluten was playing a big part on my life, on my joints. They were damaging since I was a kid, and I didn't know that. You know, so I don't know if we skip.
No,
So,
it's such an interesting subject.
So what happened? Like with 15, I was having arthrosis, big arthrosis, and like I was looking to my hand, like and my friend, and the people said, well, but how it does exist? How can it be with 15 full of arthrosis and like accumulating? Like when we scan, and like was something like much before all the others, athletes, and that, so like, and with this big inflammation and pressure on the joints, on the whole joints, the inflammation, this was making like a damage with the time in all my joints, all my joints. The hardest operation that I had was on the back. Like I had everything. To shoulder to elbow to 3 times this, 3 times this, 3 is this, 3 is this, 2 and that. But the back is the worst one, because after like I did one MMA in Sweden. After that I made a surgery, my first surgery on the back. Like, and after that I said, man, it brought you like the fear, you know, your whole body got weaker. That really brings you down. The others, you okay, I have it here, but keep going. I have this problem here, keep going. Of course, it also didn't happen. It didn't help so much. The kind of knowledge that we had before, like when I was 15, 16, 17, 18. I was a blue belt, like good and big and strong boy. I was with maybe it's curious even for Richard. I went to America. I remember I was playing American football there as well. And with 16 years old, I was bench press 4 times more than I do it today.
Wow.
You know, so I was very strong, man. The guys like the black belts. No, call Orlando, because we need it. Well, let's use him. Let's use him to train. You know. Yeah. So, man, I was like a very strong boy and train, and like something was hurt. Hurt my ligament. Hurt it. Man, I had already my injection on the car. Boom, Voltaren myself. I didn't have doctor, a physiotherapist.
Of course, back in the day.
Let's go. Boom, take a Voltaren, go to the beach. Swim a little bit on the cold water. At night I was again. Maybe my ligament was even ripped or something, but we didn't care. No, everybody do like that. Take this injection and go train again. And like that was the whole life. We didn't have so much knowledge and people to also the physical training is something that is gonna prevent you a lot to get hurt.
Yes.
Because the physiotherapy is to fix you, but the physical training is gonna allow you to make this pressure, this kind of high level training that you wanna and that you need to do. Like in case of Rakic, and if he's not prepared to do that, he's gonna get hurt. So the physical training is not to allow him to make the same move thousands of times in the same power from the beginning to the end of the round until the 5 minutes, but it's also for him to take, so he's able to take this pressure or whatever during the whole fight. And at that time, didn't exist that.
It didn't exist such a thing like prevention.
No, it was not.
That's actually what you do, Ricardo, in a certain way, right?
Not even the physical training didn't exist. Like when I was going to the fitness studio, like the guys from Jiu Jitsu was going there. Look at this guy. The guy's training legs. They were making fun of the guy who was training legs. It was not nice to train legs. The girls train legs to have a nice leg. The guys cannot train legs. It did exist that you couldn't go to the gym and lift at the train and make legs exercise, and that it didn't exist at all. You know, and even before. Man, like the Gracies, they were doing exercise at the beach and that, and they had a flexible body. They were doing yoga. They were doing many trainings and that, but they were not doing weight. They were not lifting weight. And until the time that started, like a couple guys in the suburbans from other martial arts doing and getting big. Hey, these guys are doing. Is it better we do as well? the graces. No, the graces. No, we are still winning. For what we are gonna train physical, do exercise? No, let's don't do it. No, we don't do it.
Train more jiu-jitsu.
Train more jiu-jitsu, and that was like that until the time that jiu-jitsu started going to like São Paulo, the guys with more money. That no, let's get stronger because we are behind them. Technically, we are behind them. So at least we have to be stronger than them, more explosive, and that so we can have a fair fight and that, you know, the jiu-jitsu guys, and then the jiu-jitsu guys from Rio also. I think we should. I think it's time to start and that. And I remember that, for example, the work that Richard do here, I follow him a little bit in the beginning. I remember the time of the CrossFit and that. So I find this work very interesting. Like I follow a couple guys. I know the famous guy that was doing this job in Rio. You know, that was in my district. I come from Barra, called Barra. I come the Grace Barra. You know? So my district there was one guy that was making the training for the guys from judo. Yeah. And this guy changed a little bit for the guys from jiu-jitsu. So they were doing a specific training from jiu-jitsu. It started like that. The guy studied sport in the university, and he started like migrating from the normal weight training, bodybuilding, to the specific training for the martial arts. And was something private and expensive, and a couple guys started training there. They having high performance in there. They training with those guys, and that was and I remember this is starting there. The guys who started with this work in Brazil. The name was even Paulo Caruso. He knows a lot. He started a lot. Yeah, and then they started that, and then after they start up. So let's use this also for the MMA and
of course.
When you look at ADCC, for example, now without strength training,
you cannot come far.
No chance
you cannot even enter. It's impossible.
What is actually the most important thing there? But because this is something that you do, Richard, how to get your body as much as possible prepared to avoid injuries. What is the key there? What is the most? Is it like a muscle mass? Is it like more stretching, less stretching, more?
Of course, it's a little bit of everything, but you need a base. The base is the base. If you don't have a base, like in jiu-jitsu, you need the fundamental strength for to avoid injuries. Like the problem is typically guys train upper body, girls train lower body. This makes no sense. It's a body. It doesn't matter if you're female or male. So it's everybody has to train the whole body. And then you have some joints. They are really typically you injure them in your sport, like soccer, knees and ankles. Like tennis, of course, ankles, shoulder, elbow, things like this. And in MMA, whatever. So this you have to give a big focus on this to build up strong and athletic functional muscle. So what you should do is just go into the gym and pump up your muscles on the machine, something like this. What you need is thinking in chains, thinking in a functional movement,
like a chain reaction of the muscles.
Yeah, what you want to do then? What you want to go to striking or whatever? Then you have to think about where comes the power from. But now we're talking about power output. So it comes from the legs. So if you just train upper body, you will not be a good fighter, or maybe you're a good fighter, but you will not come on the highest level, I would say. So because you generate power from the floor over your legs, over your core into your arm, then you will be able to knock someone out, of course. Yes. But what I often see is in MMA, in jiu-jitsu, in striking, whatever, that people invest a lot of time in just also exercises where they look better. So they don't want to go there as a type of sportsman. They don't like to go to the gym. They spend more time, of course, let's do more pads, more sparring, whatever. And just in the end of the preparation, 3 weeks, 4 weeks before the fight, I need some condition. And in the past, in the first 10 years I'm doing this, I remember guys calling me, coaches calling me and say, Richard, my guy is fighting in 2 weeks. can you come into your gym for next 2 weeks for 2 free trainings for condition? I say, oh fuck, is this a joke? Say, no, of course not. This is not possible because this is
not enough time just to level it up.
Last 2 weeks. Normally you stop 1 week before the fight. You just do some activation training, things like this. There are a lot of studies out there that show when you stop early before the fight, you increase your speed, you increase your power, you increase your endurance, everything. So, and they start to train there. So it's but you know those guys also from the old Thai boxers in Austria. They fought every month.
Yeah.
So this is hard for a coach. When you fight every month, where is the program? Where is the strategy? You can have a strategy. In Jiu Jitsu, you have a tournament here, a tournament there, a tournament every week. You can fight.
Exactly.
UFC and MMA is you are lucky as a coach when you have a fighter there because
you can program it.
Yeah, you program it. He fights every 4 months, 5 months, every 6 months sometimes. Is a lot of time. You can go through the whole theory from the beginning to the end. This is really easy. But coming back to your question, you have to spend time on the joints when you are an athlete. You're just grandma from whatever. You just want to be fit. You can do also just the basic movements like squatting and things like this. This could be enough. But for a fighter, you have to put time. I want this muscle because it helps to stabilize the knee. And I want this muscle because, and etc. You have to do this. They are
like in a very precise way in order to stabilize the joints, in order to protect them with the muscles, with the right muscles in the right proportion, right?
Yes, and you have of course you have to check out before you make an assessment. Where is the athlete strong? Where is he not so strong? Has he injuries before? Or what is his sport? Of course, things like this. So there's not a one system for everybody. It's like in Jiu Jitsu. There's someone playing top game, ground game, whatever. I don't like ground game, for example. So I would always ask for.
What do you think of that? That Orlando said that. Nutrition, he changed it actually. He's now gluten-free and it helped him a lot. It helped all those inflammation processes that he had in the joints that were injured and stuff like this. Any experiences first of all with gluten-free, because I know how much you care about the nutrition program. You're even starting now a specialized cooking show so far as I can see, right?
Yeah.
What do you think?
This cooking show is gluten-free, for example. So
really? So it's going to be like kind of healthy.
I invite you to. You have to be my
perfect
guest.
For sure.
Yeah.
So you're making a cooking show that is actually concentrated on a nutritioning program that is healthy.
Yeah.
But also tastes good, right?
I don't think so. No, of course, that's good. But look, the thing is that I always, when I write the nutrition plan or things like this for my athletes or clients, whoever, the focus is not only performance. Of course, it's performance, but nutrition, healthy nutrition is inside of this performance concept. So I don't think that you can perform on the highest level on the optimum. I don't talking about maximum. I don't like this. We want to perform on the max. I don't need to perform my whole life on the max. I want to perform on my personal optimum. And for me, it makes 100% sense that gluten-free is for many people better. Of course, there are a lot of people that have no problems with gluten. But in Orlando's case, I understand this 100%. And let's go to the science. You have, of course, this celiac, for example. So you cannot eat gluten. You will feel it immediately. So this is really a problem for people. They're getting cancer in the gut and everything, in the small intestine. And then you have the allergy. Of course, you will feel that. You see it on the skin and everything immediately. And then you have the sensitivity. This or like intolerance. It's they call it sensitivity in medicine. So I would say it's something you have. So the doctor will never find anything. Maybe not, but normally not. But people have problems, but they don't know why. So they have problems with skin, they have problems with the brain when they with concentration, they have problems with digestive system, or they have problems with joints. Because what I would say is, but now we have to be careful because it's, you know, the science is 50-50 here. It's pro-inflammatory. So for some people, this is a big problem. When they stop eating bread, pasta, and cookies or whatever, where gluten are inside or wheat is inside, the problems are gone. Nobody knows why. So I don't want to go deeper there, but my plants are all gluten free. There's no wheat on the menu. There's no pasta. There you can eat carbohydrates, of course, and an MMA fighter, a BJJ fighter, it's a strong and powerful and fast sport. You need carbs. You cannot make. I tried it, 6 months ketogenic diet, and had two jiu-jitsu competition. Of course it works, but you need for these sports you need carbohydrates. But you can take also gluten-free versions like buckwheat. I love buckwheat. And second, you can also eat rice, sweet potato, things like this. So this is not a big deal, and people normally feel much better.
Even beer, for those that like.
Or
I don't
beer.
like beer, but some who like it. I can have a beer.
But ask Alex, for example. Since 8 years, his diet is not 100% gluten free because you know he's go to Mama for Serbian food, and you have this bread and everything. Yeah, but that's okay. It's 70-80% is gluten free, and you know this is one part of the concept of the puzzle. So it's I like that.
Yeah, we have this, for example, the Novak Djokovic, the great tennis champion, is gluten free.
Yes,
kind of
since
guy.
years.
Yes, since years, right. So how did it help you actually? What is it that you feel since you stopped eating gluten? Since you start taking care of, of nutrition in that way?
I never told it like in public about that, because it looks like you are trying to push someone to convince someone to have the same diet like you. I'm vegan. I want you to be vegan. No, like if you are vegan, so keep it to yourself. Good for you. You know, if you eat whatever you eat, you know, I don't want you to eat gluten free. I have to eat gluten free. It's not an option for me. It's not that I enjoy it. I would prefer even that I could eat gluten, because I like to eat my pasta too. So I would prefer that I could. Yes, but what happened, like I started having a lot of degeneration on my joints, like a lot of arthrosis with 15 years old. Like I was looking to my hands, and that when my friends, they didn't have it yet, and I was very swollen and with a lot of arthrosis. And then we start making some exams to see the amount of arthrosis. The doctor was saying like this is not normal. Even high level athletes like also don't have it, you know, like this is too much. And the time start passing, and I never thought that could be gluten. Like I never thought about that, you know, that the gluten was playing it. And like I started, like my wife started trying to convince me, because she has celiac disease. So she was thinking that the gluten maybe it's playing hard on my body. And then I start thinking that I never believed it. So like 3-4 years ago, I said, okay. So she convinced me to stop for 1 week. You know, what happened? Like after I stopped, I was sleeping only 3 hours per night, and I was like feeling like that I was very like, no, I have to do something. I was extra energized. You know, I was feeling like it was really strange, and I couldn't stop telling her. I said, no, I feel so good. She said, stop. I know, but you already said it. I said, no, but there is something strange there. It's too much. It's like I drank 10 energy drinks. So like I feel like I need to do something. In the middle of the night, I wanted to go running or something like that. You know?
So was it pleasant or not?
Was great. Was great. After a while, it did start balancing. Now I sleep normal. I have like a normal. Unfortunately, it's not like the way when I stopped. You know, and I read in a book that other people also have the same feeling that. And I read that intolerance sometimes they are even harder than the celiac disease and also the other diseases. They can be very hard. But nowadays, like if I eat a little bit of gluten, you are not gonna see me for the next 2 days. I'm sick. You know?
Really?
So I'm really.
So you're 100%.
And after 48 hours, my elbows that I already like I can't move my arms. So it's like there's something, you know,
a stiffness.
Like the stiffness, and it's really painful. That. So for me, it's not that an option or a lifestyle. Is that the gluten for me is poisoning. So I can't give myself the luxury to try a little cookie with gluten. That is not that I find it beautiful for my performance. It's not nothing of that. It's just that it's poison. For me, it's poison. I don't want nobody to do the same, you know. But I can't, you know. So I can.
What are your Ricardo? What are
the
your
funny thing? Just the one thing. The funny thing is that when you cut off the gluten things from the diet from an athlete, for example, because we're talking about people who want to go on the optimum level, then they start to think about healthy food. So they say, okay, buckwheat. I never hear that. What is this? I say buckwheat is this, and this brings you this vitamins and whatever. And okay, what is sweet potato? You know, 2 years ago nobody know what a sweet potato is. Now it's modern food. You get it in every steakhouse and everywhere. Yeah? Yes. But things are changing. So you change your diet from standard food, I would say, like pasta or white bread, or also dark bread, to healthier versions, because you open your eyes and you get some. This is my job. I go with my clients. I also go to the supermarket and say, look, you have your buckwheat bread, and they say that they know that this exists. Yeah. Then they try it, and it tastes good, and it much more nutrition inside.
Maybe I think it was maybe around 7 years ago. I visited Richard one time, and he gave me a small bag with cacao bonen.
Yeah.
Cacao seeds. He said, "Hey Orlando, try this here. Eat this here. It's really good." I said, "Okay, so give me, if it's good, whatever it's good, we try. We have to try it." I said, "But good why?" I said, "No, you have to eat this." And then I was eating the cacao bonen. But this cacao bonen is from Brazil, man. Come on. And I remember that he was already worried about that. But actually, if you see well, the Gracies, Carlos Gracie, he was already at that time, 100 years ago, already
something like this.
Already worried about the diet. Yeah. He was the first one, like it's the biggest family in martial art, and he was the first one who created a diet. The Gracie diet was a lot of based on the acidity of the food. Like one food you put together with the other, it's gonna make the acid, and so you should not the mixing of the food and that. So, and he was a lot, like he was studying, I mean, himself, how he could, because we didn't have so much information at that time, but he was like doing his experiments and that, and he knew a lot about food. And he was curing a lot of people, many fighters in Brazil, when they were having problems, let's take to Master Carlos. Master Carlos was there and put him out of the hospital. Stop taking all those pills. You're going to eat this, you're going to eat those fruits, you're going to take those tea. He was very good with the teas as well. You're going to take those tea here and you're going to cure that. Because on the head, on the mind of the Gracies, you should be feeling good to fight anytime you should be ready to fight. No, I mean, or to fight, or to do an exercise, or to work, or whatever
feel
you're gonna
good,
do.
to feel ready.
Anytime. Not after at night. No, you should be ready to fight after you eat. So you had the lunch now, okay, so stand up, let's go, let's fight. That's why the amount of food they eat is smaller, and the acidity that they try to combine is somehow that you eat, okay, so we can train. Let's go.
I love that idea.
Yeah, so that was the idea of them, of the Gracies, that you should be ready to whatever.
And do you know what I think what is interesting? They were such a perfect combination, Helio and Carlos Gracie. They were two brothers, but they were so different in a certain way, right? So they were promoting this new sport, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, that had roots in a Japanese Jiu Jitsu they learned, but each one of them in a different way. Helio was more a kind of a competitive guy who took more action of that physical path, and the Carlos was more into those philosophical kind of things, right? Or nutrition and this side.
Yeah,
Is
I
this
guess.
right?
Yes, but in certain form, the fighting spirit it was in the whole family.
Yes,
the Grace
absolutely.
family is the biggest family in a martial art,
Yes, of
like
course.
in the world. So like everybody was born like everybody who was born in that, like they were born with a gi, you know. They were training and that. So. Like the boys, like the kids were not going to school. So imagine how they could have this view that it would might one day it would might spread all over the world and like become something recognized, and they could live from that, you know.
Yes,
So
amazing.
because-
10 years ago, when I started with Jiu-Jitsu at Gracie,
Mm-hmm.
I was really proud that it was Gracie.
Yeah.
So it was not only Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah.
I was really proud that I could start there was only one school.
Yeah,
But it was Gracie.
Actually, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu is Grace. Everybody like it's Grace
It's
Jiu
Gracie
Jitsu.
Jiu-Jitsu,
It's the same.
yes,
Yeah,
because it comes from
it's
that.
Grace Jiu Jitsu. Yeah, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu is Grace Jiu Jitsu.
Yes, you're running the Roger Gracie Academy here in Vienna, and also in the surrounding countries. You are in charge of seeing what's going on in Slovakia, in other cities in Austria, in Croatia, etc., etc. And you are a very good friend and close friend with Roger Gracie. That I also I'm happy that I had a great chance, an opportunity to get to know him and to become friends with him and all that. And Roger Gracie is one of the greatest and biggest names in the history of Brazilian Jiu Jitsu now. 10 times world champion, an amazing guy who has made such a huge impact in Europe
No doubt.
with his schools, right?
Exactly.
How is Roger for you? How is your contact to Roger? Because we stopped at the point when you came to Vienna and you opened up your first little gym. I remember it was in the 2nd district. But then it came to that together work with Roger Gracie and Gracie
Roger,
Academy.
like we grow up in the same district in Barra.
In Barra, Tijuca.
We are
right?
going to the same beach there. So yeah, like it's like we grow up together. We got more together here in Europe. Like we start training more, getting more together in contact. But in Rio, we are already friends, going to the same parties and like having.
How was this
dinner.
lifestyle? I suppose that interests people a lot. Because you were living in Rio de Janeiro, surfing, doing Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, having the summer all year long. This is how you were growing up.
Exactly.
It's amazing, right? It's a paradise on earth, seems to me.
It is
For
but
the young people,
yes,
especially.
it is. But like it's become a time that you have to like you wanna grow. You wanna have your family. You wanna grow it. You wanna spread. You want to feel that your value, what you
You're
can bring to the
useful.
people. That you're useful. What you can bring to the people. And like it was like a mission. I have to go outside and I have to spread it. Like I think I'm a big part of what the Jiu-Jitsu is in Austria and in Europe. I'm part of this history.
Of this path, yes.
Yeah, and I think like I have the wish that my students because nowadays what's happening a lot that the guys start training like. Some guys, they come the first day in the gym, they said, and here you make belt promotions, and here you make affiliations. I can open a gym. The guy don't even know if he's gonna like to train, if he's gonna engage it.
Yeah.
And he's already worried about if he's gonna become a teacher, but you don't know, maybe you don't even know if you like it yourself. So it's a long way, like you said, the people it's missing, it's like an education. You gotta spend you cannot skip the steps. You gotta spend your time I don't want to teach you to be an athlete. I want to teach you to be an athlete if you want, but as well as a teacher. I want you to bring this forward. What I'm teaching to you, but I want you to bring also the history, where it come from. You know, how was it, and the names of jiu-jitsu. So many people, they don't know, they have no idea. They start teaching here on the corner and they have no idea where it come from, who was those people and that, and how was it, how was the techniques that Master Eddie was teaching back then, and how was this evolution, how was the kind of class that they were doing on the 60s, on the 70s, and how the jiu-jitsu become big in Rio to after become big in Brazil to become big, and the people don't know that, so they skip those steps. But what's gonna happen if it keeps skipping those steps? The past is the history is gonna die.
Yeah.
And this is part of the culture of Brazil, the jiu-jitsu as well as the capoeira.
Yeah.
Like the jiu-jitsu, man, this is how do you say in English, a relic.
Yes.
You know, that's gold.
Yes.
This is the biggest family in a martial art in the world that spread the jiu-jitsu and the MMA, that we started with Vale Tudo and the MMA all over the world. They created all this. You know?
Yes, because
and so it's amazing, and the lifestyle nowadays. The guys here, they start dressing like we dressed there in Rio. They start eating fruits that we eat in Brazil. Acai bowls. The acai the Grace brought from the north to Rio, and they start mixing it up. And that I had the opportunity to see all these, you know, to grow up with them. But many guys here. They are drinking acai that they have no idea what is it come from. That, you know,
and why is it so important in the jiu-jitsu world?
Exactly, in the jiu-jitsu culture and that. So, like, I believe that everything come on the right time. And like the belts, like you're gonna get your blue, purple, brown, black belt, you're gonna become a master once you get your 4th degree. So this, if like all this baggage that you're gonna carry together with you, this learning process, it requires time. You know, if you don't pass from that, you're not gonna take it forward for your students for that, because you didn't absorb that.
Yes, because people maybe don't know. You know, it's very hard. The path is very hard. There are only 5 belts, but you need at least 10 years of extremely hard daily work, almost more or less, to get to the black belt, right? At least it's very hard to say.
It depends of you.
How is the belt politics? I know that you are someone that your gym is very well known, that you do not give belts to the people if they really do not deserve it.
Look,
I've seen people in your gym who are white belts training for like 2 years, 2.5 years, daily, going to the tournaments, winning, and struggling to get your blue belt.
Yeah, it's not exactly like that. Also, what happened? You cannot compare people. You know? I cannot compare you with Richard, with any other one. So I have to compare you with yourself. I have to compare you from today with you from tomorrow. So what did you do to deserve to get a new belt? So, like, do you deserve it? Do you, like, the first thing you have to deserve it, because otherwise it's just a piece of material, of nothing, you know. So did you really came? Like, some guys, I know guys that train already 10 years. He was on the mat 5 times. So, you know, the guy gonna ask, how long you train? I train jiu-jitsu 2 years. I train 5 times.
Yeah.
So, man, you could have come more. And how much you give?
To
how much can you give to jiu-jitsu? To jiu-jitsu give you back.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't compare the people in that. So there is no politique for the belt.
Yeah.
You know, every master have to know his student, have to know, well, what could you do better? Could you do more? I think,
and not only on the mats.
Not for sure not. What do you bring for the team? Like, that's very important. It's very important. Like, you have to add up. You know?
Yes, because you are outside of the gym. You are representing as well the art that you are practicing, right? I mean, for Richard, is that also very symptomatic? You know, all these guys from the MMA that he's training you know, they are representing this sport, and we certainly do not want in this sport to have a bad connotation,
The
you know,
reputation.
right?
Yeah, look at one thing.
What is-
We all now think, I think we go out of sports now in this conversation, and what
Which
for
is
me
good,
is
which is okay,
yeah,
why
yeah,
not?
absolutely. What for me is really important is I'm a coach for athletes. I want the optimum performance in the cage, on the field, or whatever, where they go for their personal combat or for their job or whatever they do. But this is sports, and they have contracts, they get paid, they have a handshake with the opponent after, before and after the fight, hopefully, etc., etc. And this is their business, this is job. And what I don't like is war, fighting. Doesn't matter where, at home, on the street, in the school. I will always step into a fight in the park. It doesn't matter who it is, because I don't like that some people get beat up. Girls, kids. I would never hit a kid. This is fucking terrible. Sorry.
No.
But this, for me, this is there's only exists one fight in sports, and this is under rules. And there is something traditional like judo and Brazilian Jiu Jitsu and martial arts from Asia. And of course, there are the more modern things. They are more going to a sports direction where there are not so many traditional rules or a codex or something like this, like
Right.
MMA. But also they might by I train a lot of bad boys, in the past especially, and I said always the same to them. I have no problem to say this to them: don't go out to fight. Do your job. Your job is you want to be a fighter on a high class level, and you want to go to the UFC, etc., etc. Don't stop that. Don't go to the park. But you hear them things like from young guys, like 18 years old. But when they started, if they do this, we have to give it back. I said, no, you don't have to give anything back. But if someone breaks the chain, then it stops.
Right.
And this is the fucking problem that they ego is a big problem. It's the biggest problem between competitors. That doesn't matter it's on a business level or on a sports level or in a just in the park. And if you ask the Alex or whoever, Mayabeck, everybody has this experience in the park. Everybody has it. But that they stopped it. They said, okay, I have to make my choice in the cage for money or on the street for nothing.
Yeah.
So for me, the fight only exists in the sport, and this fits really good to the traditional way of jiu-jitsu, and this is also a reason why I like it. So
but again, that was a long learning process.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
nowadays in Austria, for example, let's talk about Austria because it's different. Like in Brazil, in America, like you have a process in that. So nowadays here in Austria is different like it was 10 years ago. So now you don't have the guys fighting are not gonna see a Rakic fighting with somebody in the corner. That even if the guy is beating him or whatever, say bad words to him, you are not gonna see. He's not gonna fight back with somebody down here in the corner because it makes no sense. And this is violence.
Yeah.
So you're not gonna see Becca fighting with somebody here on the corner. Once you go here down the street, you're not gonna see Becca fighting there. So that was a learning process, an education that came with the time. They saw it that if they want to be professionals, it can't happen. And this is not even a argumentation. Like it does exist that, but it came from a learning process. It came from education process and that. And during this time of this process was a little bit what took me out of the MMA as well, because sometimes I kind of lost my the patience. I said, no, man, I'm not the one that's gonna take those guys and educate them. So for that also that I was directing myself for the jiu-jitsu to have. And my work nowadays is jiu-jitsu. Of course, things changed a lot. The MMA in Austria developed a lot. Things are not the way it was anymore. But I direct myself
into the jiu-jitsu
that I could have more control. That I didn't want this reputation, this and that. So for that, and I'm happy the way it is because, like I said, it's not possible to to make both, to make MMA and Jiu-Jitsu
Mhm.
in a high range. You can't like have like schools and take care of a big, because a big part of the Jiu-Jitsu nowadays is how you manage this and how is your structure of your teaching process and how to do it to bring it to the customer in the highest level that you can bring it to make your customer happy what he's gonna have it. You know?
You have to focus on one thing.
You have to be professional,
Yes.
focus on one thing. The same if Richard want to teach MMA now from today to tomorrow, the physical training, it's gonna be a little bit aside. He's not gonna his researches, he's not gonna have the same time, and he's not gonna be able to do everything. It's so you gotta direct to one thing.
Yes, what are your goals? What is it? Where do you want to go next from there? Because sounds to me like you have organized your life, professional life, the way you always wanted it to be. You have a very successful gym. The people from your gym are competing also on IBJJF regularly, winning medals and everything. What is next for someone like you?
It is a little bit complicated, you know. Like I said, it's one process, but I want to organize those things in larger scale, to bring the jiu-jitsu for everybody, so everybody is going to be able to train, no matter you're strong, you're old, a girl. I mean, everybody have to. I want to bring the people to train and to feel good with that, you know. So I want to bring it in larger scale, so to conquest like everybody, no matter the guy here from on the corner, your neighbor, and also like the yoga practitioner, the person who train the physical. I want to bring everybody to train jiu-jitsu. So I want that everybody is able to train, not only the competition guy, not only the strong guy or the guy who wanna fight MMA, but I want to bring it to everybody, to make it open for everybody. And also that I want that the people have access to how the jiu-jitsu was. I want them to learn how it was before. I want them to know, to have a more open vision that the jiu-jitsu is not only this, that is not only the competition, it's not only this, to do the technique, to put technique in YouTube and to do that. So my idea is to make it like something bigger, something for everybody. Everybody should be able to train jiu-jitsu.
You know, when I hear that, you know, now I didn't train for a year or even longer, you know, and when I hear that and when I remember the feeling that I used to have when I was attending classes in your gym, it gives me the desire, you know, to jump up and to go to my bedroom, you know, and to wear kimono immediately and to put my white belt on, you know, and it's just I hope that
your body was not producing endorphin, so you're missing the
endorphin.
So you're missing that.
I miss
so
these
it's
hormones.
one simple reason to train jiu-jitsu. Why to train jiu-jitsu?
Hormones. Yes,
to produce endorphin.
It's fantastic, and I hope that the people who are listening to us and who didn't have experience with the Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, I hope they can, from our talk and from our perspective, get motivated, you know, or even imagine at least what it is and what it gives us, you know, and why do we risk injuries and why do we decide to live with the pain, because it gives you something special. Joe Rogan said once in his podcast that he even thinks that certain amount of pain, that controlled pain that you're feeling, like for example in jiu-jitsu or in combat sports, is necessary for us humans.
It's a little bit of stress. It's something you need. The problem what we have in our life is that the stress is inside our body.
Yes, and everything else is soft.
Yes,
outside.
yes. So we get from the outside, we get softer in the last 100, 200 years, 500 years, whatever. And inside everything gets harder. So the soul, for some people gets harder, from some people gets softer. That means we open our hearts for other people's from other countries, and things are changing, things getting better. Yeah, people saying things getting worse. It's not like this. Things getting better in general. Of course, we have COVID, we have things like Donald Trump and other things, but some not so good things. But doesn't matter. But inside, the problem is our stress is inside. So we go to work, hard work, 40 hours, then we do this. There's another stressor, there's a stressor, there's a stressor, there's no balance. We have no time for sports, we sleep not so good. I would not say everybody has this problem, but a lot of people.
Yes.
The stress is inside, it's in the cells, it's in the soul, it's in the brain, in the heart, everywhere. It should not be there. Here inside we should be soft and calm and relaxed, and everything should be fine. A little bit like the Brazilian way of life. Yeah?
Yes.
And where should be the stress? Should be outside the body. So you should go barefoot through the woods. You should go into the cold shower, like you guys told me how to do before I come here. A cold shower, or heat for just in the sauna or whatever. Or you go to Jiu Jitsu. This is 90 minutes of stress outside your body. It's of course it's also involving your cells and your muscles and everything. But this is coming from outside. You know, this is this other guy with purple belt. I want to make sparring with him. I know he's really good. Oh my God, will I have a chance today? But doesn't matter. At the end, you hug, and and everything is fine.
And it's your option. Huh? You wanna go. You wanna challenge the purple belt. Nobody told you to do that. You wanna challenge the purple belt. So like, the guy can also come to Jiu-Jitsu and just relax, have a good time, and don't get hurt. Is also possible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so
but that's outside. I'm more talking about doing training. Doesn't matter what you do.
No doubt. Yeah.
Doesn't matter what you do. And Jiu-Jitsu is the perfect way to combine combat or martial arts with sports, with family feeling, with the community, because you know this is totally different. When you go into the class, this is, you feel that this is friendship. This is not. This is not like in, I don't know, in other sports it's different, I would say.
Yeah, but I guess any sport it's like you. I don't.
That's
see,
the same in CrossFit, for example.
Yeah, I don't see a way for you to grow, to get older, getting healthy without practicing any exercise. I don't believe that this is possible.
I don't think so.
Again, sorry.
I don't believe it's possible. You get older without practicing any sport and still keep it healthy. It's very hard to.
It's totally right, because your body needs
your
this
body
stress.
your body needs the sweat. Your body needs to bring
this
your
is what
heart.
I call stress. This is
bring your heart, bring your heart faster. Your pressure, during the training, whatever you train, your pressure is gonna go down. You're gonna control your pressure. You're gonna control your weight. I don't see how you grow. You get older. And keep it healthy without any sport. I think it's kind of impossible.
That's right. It doesn't matter if you go on the mountains or doing jiu-jitsu.
Doesn't matter what. Yeah.
In jiu-jitsu, you have the benefit that you have this. You learn to control your fears and emotions and everything, because you start with jiu-jitsu and a blue belt. You roll with a blue belt and you feel a little bit. It's competitive. Yeah. But to start to control your breath, your coach
breath,
helps.
Exactly.
Of course, I teach Jiu-Jitsu, I live from that, but not even talking only about Jiu-Jitsu, because it looks like I'm just trying to bring people. I'm trying to convince people. No, I'm talking any sport. You should do any sport, whatever. But you should do a sport. Search for sport. You should do a sport. I remember like 11, 12 years ago when I came here to Austria. Then I was feeling like I was different. I went to a dinner and then like one guy asked me, "Oh, really? Hi, nice to meet you." And that, what do you do? I teach sport. I teach Jiu-Jitsu. He said, "Oh, but what do you do to live?" I said, "I teach Jiu-Jitsu." He said, "Yeah, but to pay your bills, how do you do it?" I said, "No, I really teach Jiu-Jitsu. I teach Jiu-Jitsu and I manage Jiu-Jitsu. I work on Jiu-Jitsu. I live."
Yeah.
And then he said, "Man." It was a lawyer. He said, "Man, is it possible to teach Jiu-Jitsu?" I said, "Yes, it's possible." Everything's but I was feeling like, man, I'm the different one here. And then I asked him, and you? And he said, "I'm a lawyer." I said, "Okay, you're a lawyer. Can you live from that?" He said, "Yeah, I'm beginning." I said, "Okay, how many lawyers we have in Vienna?" "Don't know, maybe 100,000. I said, "Okay, how many black belt Jiu-Jitsu you have here? You think we have here?" He said, "No." I said, "Only me." So like starting from that, I have already an advantage from you. So, like, it's very possible to live with sports nowadays, you know, but like 11, 12 years ago, you see how the things change. Like, I was feeling like I was the different guy here. Man, I teach sports. And the people was like, man, you teach sports, but how can you live on that? Like, they were asking me often here. But how can you?
You know, Austria is not a country for.
Exactly. Also come
for the free spirits.
This and also for.
But change.
We're not a sports.
But it's
country,
changing a lot. But
it's true.
But it's changing a lot, and that is like, I'm happy for that. Couple few years ago, people still could smoke cigarettes inside a bar or a restaurant. So if you would go with your kids to a restaurant, you have to stay on you couldn't see like 2 meters because it was full of smoke. And all other countries in Europe was not allowed anymore.
Last.
Here was the last.
That's crazy.
Because the politics here, they smoke inside the restaurant, so they want to keep.
And smoking is really crazy for everybody, not only for the smoker, also for me, passive.
No,
it's
exactly.
fucking dangerous.
Everybody know that. And still, we were the last. Was a couple years ago that was not allowed to. I stopped meeting my friends, and my friend Paul, come here to let's talk a little bit, and then let's have a beer. Even Nikola and a couple other friends, and I stopped going out. I said, no, sorry, I don't go. We meet during the day.
Yes, because you didn't want to be in the
because I didn't want to be. I didn't want to be in the smoke, and that. This is just an example, you know.
But smoking is seriously one of the biggest problems.
This is one example, but also like I said, the guy, the lawyer said, man, can you live from that? Another one, they came to me and said, but what do you do? So, and then I said, I teach sports. And then they said, man, I can't talk with people who teach sport. I saw an interview of a soccer player. After he couldn't even talk. He didn't know what he was talking about. I said, okay, but there are people that, what do you do? And then I don't remember what, she was a doctor maybe or something like that.
Yeah.
I said, but there are doctors. I have a doctor that he also trained. So you're not going to talk with him because he trained jiu-jitsu. You know, so people, we are normal people, we do sport, but we also do everything else that you also do it. You know, we also read books, we also do everything else what you do it. But this was a mentality that the people had, that came with a process of a time that it was 11 years to change the people to what it is.
And in these 11 years, how many black belts have you produced in your gym? How many black belts do we have now in Roger Gracie Academy?
We have in Austria, Roger Gracie, Austria, we have 10 black belts.
Wow.
Like now at the moment 8 are in Vienna. And
one of them is Dr. Daniel, our great friend, and an amazing person.
You know, Doctor.
There is a Daniel Chef.
Chef is also.
Chef is also black belt.
And he's a lawyer.
He's a lawyer, right?
Exactly, yeah. And so at the moment training here in Vienna now we have 8 black belts. And in Austria we have 10, And
this is amazing actually for such a small gym because these guys they stick to you, you know, Mate Lepan, Mensur Alic.
So incredible athletes, incredible personal people.
Yes, they all stayed with you. You know, we also have to say
they're not only great athletes, but they are all very good, very nice people, very correct people.
Absolutely,
very nice people in that. And I also have students that they left, they made their own career, and that they are also very nice people and very technical athletes, very successful athletes, and that.
Like for example, Antonio Stanic, who was your student.
Exactly.
But now he's
also
running.
Passed by me, was an amazing, very nice guy, very good, very competent teacher, and that, And that's like
beautiful.
Life goes on. So if you see, I consider myself like the father of the jiu-jitsu in Austria because I was the first black belt. When I came here, like there was one purple blue belt.
Exactly. Yeah. Ricardo, what are your plans? I asked Orlando what are his plans for the near future, and his answer was actually very nice, very poetic. and I admire this answer a lot. What are your ideas? What are your desires actually?
I work now 25 years with people. So, but I'm deeply interested in sports since 20 years, I would say, and I'm a performance coach since 10 years. And I will stay in this field 100%. This is what I love. So, what I love is to help people coming to their optimum performance level. What I love to see is when people are doing great things with my support, and I generally love human performance. Like today I was watching 15 minutes video clips of my nephew with Alex together. I showed him how she's moving. She's a girl. She's moving on the floor and coming from a squat position on the ground on the butt and coming back in the squat position, moving with the hands on the floor. No
like an animal walk.
Like an animal walk. Nobody taught her this, just to the music. And I showed him this. I couldn't stop watching this clip. This is amazing for me. And this has the same level or the same quality, I would say. I love it the same way. Like I love to see a guy in a tournament, or a guy is making a surgery on the heart or whatever, or a chest player or whatever. So I love human performance. If someone activates his potential and is doing something great, so it doesn't matter. If it's Muhammad Ali or a guy who is supporting people in countries like Africa or whatever with bring food or water or whatever, or a medical system. I love it, and I want to be part of this. So I decided this year to switch the field I work in. I don't stop working with combat sports, but I open for every sports and every field. So I coach high performance.
Yes, you started also with the soccer. You do some soccer players on a high level. And what are the differences? For example, when you are working with a guy who plays professionally soccer for Rapid Vienna, for example, that you have such athletes, and when you work with MMA fighters,
the biggest
what is the biggest difference in for you?
Yeah, the biggest difference is you have the individual sport like MMA. You have one guy, and he has some coaches, and everybody is focused on just on him in this to this time. So like in a camp or whatever. And then you have a soccer player and team. You have 23 other guys in this team. So the coach and the coaching team is not focused on one guy. Is working with everybody of this team, and they have their coaches for fitness, for this, for that, for everything. So what I do there is I just coach the things they don't do, and I have to orientate on their programming. So I cannot go there and say, now today, Tuesday, Friday we do strength and conditioning, then we do this, we do that, we do. This is not possible. Yeah. Because this is big business. Yeah. This guy has a programming. They get every Friday. He gets a program for the next week, and he has to show up on this time. If he don't shows up, he loses his job as a soccer player. Yeah. With Alex, for example, we sit down and say, okay, this week looks like this. We do this, we do that. We will be there at this time. Then maybe we switch something. Then someone. This is totally individual. This is totally different. I would not say one thing is easier than the other. It's just different, and I like both. But I also love to teach or to work with I had, for example, a guy who's playing chess, or at the moment I coach someone, medical doctor from doesn't matter. So this is something special, they say, okay, I make a surgery. I work 6 to 8 hours on the heart. Yeah. I have to be totally focused. What can you do for me? How can you help me to be much more focused? This is totally different. This is totally different than MMA. So this is something I love.
Yes.
When I hear this, I say, I'm in. I want to help you.
Because that means that mental part is also a very important part of your job. Because you're called strength and conditioning coach, but you cannot be a good strength and conditioning coach when you are not considering a mental, a psyche part of that person, right?
Yes, but this I just do in a passive way, like with people I train a long time. Like I think you also, when people have problems, they come to you because you're the coach for 8, 9, 10 years. Of course, they open their mind, their heart to you. Yeah. This is not mental coaching. This is, you are a friend. You are something like a father,
mentor, master, father figure, older brother, whatever. Yeah.
This is something different. This just happens. On the other side, you have professional clients, I would say. I would never do a mental coaching. I'm not a mental coach or a psychological or something like this. There's a limit for me. But what I can help is with nutrition, supplementation, and lifestyle, and sleep, and recovery, and things like this, to make him better, that he can better concentrate, be more focused, and changing his lifestyle to a healthier lifestyle, and so he grows up in his personal optimum performance level. And if he needs a mental coach, it's no problem. I have guys in my team, bring him in. If he needs a strength and conditioning specialist, I have a guy, his name is Pete, I bring him in. If I need someone from for some medical parts, it's normal, you go to the doctor, bring him in. So this is, I have a flexible system. I try to organize everything around the guys. In the past, I did mostly strength and conditioning, but now this part is around 20%.
Yes.
I think it's very nice. One thing that Richard said here, he has the conscience that he, like he said, I have a limit, you know. So he put himself a limit. Like if this guy is passing this limit, okay, I have to get a specialist and that. So he knows that he needs, like that he doesn't go over, like he needs, one guy is going to do that because this guy is specialist on that, another one is going to do that because he's specialist on that. And this is very interesting, like because I think it was happening here often, like that some guys was happening also in this long process of the evolution in Austria, and that like the guy was saying, no, I do everything, you know. And then, like, the person has no information. What do? I do your mental coaching. Don't worry. I do your jiu-jitsu training, and then I do your MMA training, your physical training, and also your psychological, and the food. And I'm gonna be your nutritionist as well.
No, this is not possible.
Well, that's not possible. And but the person, like the person that has no knowledge, and the person like, oh, I don't know. So I go to, and I'm gonna make massage also. You know, so in the end you are everything, but you are nothing. You know. So this was happening a lot, and people have no information, and they were, oh, this guy, he does everything. He saved my life. I pay only him to do everything. So the people at home should, when the cent is offering you too much, so think twice, because maybe that's a trick. You know. And what's happening this
because
also
you
when
can be professional in everything.
Exactly. So when I came to Vienna, like 11, 12 years ago, so what's happening this, the guy like was many charlatans, and the guy, no, I do that, I'm trained of that, I'm trained of jiu-jitsu. Then when you want to see when the guy is everything, I said, what else is? You know, and then in the end, the guy was nothing. And
I think we're thinking about the same guy. But we'll talk later.
I don't know. No, I don't know. I'm talking generally. It's not only one. No, it's not only one. No, it's not only one. What happened often that I don't like to say names and that.
No, it doesn't matter. But
doesn't matter who is, but it's important to alert, to switch on the alert to the people at home, to whatever you search. If you're gonna search for a performance trainer, for example, a student of mine that is going to search, I have a couple boys there, very talented, that I believe that in the future they are going to be a high-level champion, big name. So I want this boy to come to train with Richard, because I don't want him to get a charlatan in the corner. That is going to make, you know, because he studied for that. He spent his life doing that. So he deserved that, and he knows what he's doing. So And I know, and this very nice thing that he said, for example,
Thank you so much for his
no,
words.
that he has I have a limit, so that's something great to hear, you know.
Yes,
like,
because nowadays
he has a
you hear
limit,
that-
so
you don't hear
that's
that very
that's
often.
no, you don't hear that very often.
Yeah.
People are not humble enough to say,
Yeah.
hey, you need a psychological. So I can recommend you. This guy works with sport. He's really good. He helps couple people. I believe, I'm not sure, but I believe that he can help you as well in your mental coaching on whatever you're gonna do. But the people at home, they don't know, so they believe on anyone that is gonna go there. It's gonna say, no, I'm gonna make a miracle for you.
Yeah.
You know, so
You know, now I coach soccer players, for example,
Mhm.
but you know,
Okay.
but you know, I cannot go on the field and coach them in their environmental, especially during the game or whatever, because I don't have an idea of soccer. This is it's not like this. Yeah, I know how this works. Yeah, this ball has to go into this things like this. But MMA or combat, I've been on, I don't know, 100, 150 events in the corner. So I 100% know what happens. You came there, you go there, you have the way in, whatever, all these things. I've did that 100 times. So this is for me easy. If you call me, can you go? My coach is ill. Can you come with me tomorrow to blah, blah, blah? I can say, yes, I can. It's no problem. Yeah. For soccer, I have no idea how this works in the cabin or whatever, what they do in between these 2 parts of 45 minutes, things like this. Just a theory. Yeah. But of course, I spend a lot of time with my team in studying the special things we need for soccer: nutrition, supplementation, recovery. These 3 parts we coach. I don't coach soccer technique. I have no idea of this.
Of course.
For example, for mobility, I love strength training. Mobility is a part of fitness, of strength and conditioning, of fitness. You need it, 100%. Every jiu-jitsu and MMA fighter needs it. But there is a guy, his name is Dalibor Nikolic. He spends his whole day, every day,
he's professional as well.
to be the best in this field.
In mobility, right?
Yes.
I know Dalibor also very well. He's really a great guy.
He's a crazy guy in this field. I would say he's one of the best in Austria in this field.
Wow.
So, for example, the guy I coach for Rapid Wien, the captain, Dejan Ljubicic, I don't do mobility training with him. I invited Dalibor. I say to him, please, could you come once a week to him? Now he's lockdown. He goes at home, 1-to-1, and makes mobility training with him. For example, he gives him homework, 50 minutes a day, and that's it. I check what they're doing. They send me clips. I just check if everything is fits into the concept, and that's it.
Fantastic.
So I think, in MMA you have this often, guys thinking he can coach striking and ground game. It's not possible. That's
I wanted to bring another topic, which is sponsoring, and that's a kind of a tricky thing in the sports that you guys are mostly into. How are your experiences with the sponsoring, Orlando? For example, with the athletes that you worked with.
Like we are talking here, so mostly we are talking about the Austrian world, the big environment, because that's what we live in. Because every special place, it works in a different way. Some places are like it works very well. Some places it's like it requires some investment or something like that. So what I think is like it misses a lot in Austria, the marketing and the investment on the athlete, on that, exactly because we didn't have this culture of the sport, that the sport is also something important, also some way of life.
Yes.
But many people live from sport, live because of the sport, for the sport, and like your podcast depend of a sponsor. You're like the sport depend of a sponsor, so we can keep it. Like
you mentioned Beckham Sumo, for example, UFC fighter.
For example, Beckham Sumo. We were in a dinner another day, and then we were making comments. Beckham, your sponsor not gonna like it if you are wearing something. He said, Orlando, you know what? I never got 1 cent, €1 from a sponsor. And imagine how many people like he's like Becca, it's his environment, how many people he influence.
Yeah.
And like, for example, your podcast.
Yeah.
You have supporters, you have friends that support, but you don't have what you deserve. You don't have.
Yes, I don't know if you realize that this light went off now, because I have a relatively cheap light, because this is what I could afford. So now it's a little bit darker. Maybe in the next question is going to get even
a little bit
darker, you know? Which I don't really care so much, because I love this talk and I love this podcast, and I know that, or I hope that the microphone is still going to work for another 15-20 minutes, you know, because this is what is important. Important is this talk, but still, you know, you need that little polishing.
But this is a lot. This is a lot in my way of view. This is a lot of cultural. Like, for example, even German, Austria. Let's put now Austria. Like, they are a lot behind in the marketing. You don't see advertisement on the street. You see a restaurant there. Okay, you go inside this little way. Okay, you find the restaurant, but you don't see the names. You don't see the advertisement. I'm not talking about that's good. That's overdoing that. But like, it's not the way. It's not cultural to work a label in Austria. You don't see that. You don't see people advertising and that. And that's very like.
And mostly, you said they give you like something, you know, like some.
Yeah. I was mentioning like a couple students of mine, and the boy went to fight, like a MMA fight. I don't remember where. And man, the store offered him a short. I said, man, I'll give you a short. You don't need to wear this label to have this short. I have shorts here. I can give you a short from Rio. You want a short from Rio, a different one, even better, more cool. You don't have to wear this label.
Because they're not paying you anything.
Because they're not giving you anything. Okay, if he's your friend and you want to support your friend, that's something different. For example, you do something like that. Sometimes it's going against like us. That you have to think twice. I see you often with the tap out that and that. He give you something. Okay, you like it, all right, you're gonna wear in that. Okay, but man, you wearing this, making the advertisement for free for them, you disturb me and him to get someone, because they will give it to you because you make it for free. So for what they will give it to me? For what they will support me? For what he will support Richard with his work, man. Yeah, this guy influenced a lot, man. He worked with a top UFC fighter that's gonna fight for the title very soon. He's gonna have the title shot soon, and then you go and you wear a label from the
some company.
Internet, from any company that you have no idea the owner who built it and that. So what happened? He gave it to you because he said, no, I give it to Radin because Radin make it for free. And then they said, for what I'm going to give to Richard? I have Radin.
Yes.
You know? So what happened? Everybody lose. You lose, I lose, he lose. You know? So this is a little bit of concept in that. For example, the student in the gym, he goes to, and then he see a name there. Name, make a fancy kimono that has the name, show you victory of the, okay. Man, if you buy the kimono that sponsor your trainer, what's gonna happen? Your trainer is gonna be able to buy kimonos cheaper because there are more. This store is selling more kimonos. So your trainer is gonna. How much more your trainer sell it?
Yeah.
He get it cheaper, and then he's gonna sell to you cheaper.
Yeah.
Because why? Because he sells a lot, or a short, or a t-shirt, whatever I'm talking about. Okay.
Yes.
Another day, a friend of mine posted a picture on Instagram that I even share. Recently is one of my last pictures. I don't use Instagram so much. I don't like so much social media in that, but we have to do a little bit in that. So another friend, man, posted a picture there, was many big names there. And was Comprido, André Galvão, I think Damian Maia, Robert Drysdale, was everybody there on the picture. That the guys were still, André was still brown belt, a couple other guys brown belt. I was like black belt already at that time, and that on top of the picture you see the name of the restaurant that we were sponsored there in Rio, back then in Rio. So after this training that we did, we went to the restaurant. We all, plus 300 that was in the training with us. So what happened? The guy of the restaurant made so much money that he wouldn't make if we were not there.
That's true.
You know, so that's it's something like so simple. Like in America, wherever you do, you throw a stone on the water and jump 10 times. So you get a sponsor.
Yes, it's easier.
But in Austria, you can do whatever. Like how many times we went to after training, like to a drink and there to eat something, and that how many times we fill it up the restaurant with 200 people, 50 people, 100 people, and that.
You should be helping this community.
Exactly,
right?
exactly. You should be helping who help your community.
Yes,
I'm not gonna drink Red Bull because Red Bull, they already state that they don't sponsor fighting sports. So I'm gonna drink the other one that sponsor fighting sport, that sponsor whatever it's sport it is, style box. If there is a energy drink that sponsor jiu-jitsu, I'm gonna drink the energy drink that sponsor jiu-jitsu. If there is one that is sponsored
in the field, in the family.
Yeah, if there is no that sponsor jiu-jitsu, but there is one that is sponsor MMA, I'm gonna drink the one that is sponsor MMA. If there is no that sponsor MMA, but there is one that is sponsor fitness, I'm gonna drink this one that is sponsor CrossFit, whatever. But I'm gonna support who support me.
Yeah, let's support that. Let's support that in that case. Our friend, for example, Philipp Pipoloid from Kufstein, Tirol. He has a very nice, you know, people. Yeah,
exactly. Philipp
Berglöwe, his company.
Marcelo. We are supporting our friends.
Yes,
exactly.
That's my idea behind it.
But those are friends that they are working together with us, and we are supporting, and that. But big companies that make money with us, that make money with our environment, they should give something back.
Exactly, because for example, even his Alexander Rakic, who is number 4 fighter in the world in the light heavy division at the moment, is having troubles to get sponsors, right? I mean,
it's not so easy. You know, we are in the wrong country for this sport. So you have, if you watch the statistics, you have in Austria, of course, skiing, where we are really good. We're number 1 in the world since 100 years. Then you have soccer. We are not number 1 in the world, but
there's a lot of money.
There's a lot of money. Yeah. And also you see where the government puts the most money, around, I don't know, is it 50% goes into soccer? Doesn't matter. But money makes money. So the money follows the money. The sponsors follows the biggest sports. And to get a sponsor who pays really money, cash, in combat sports, that's amazing hard. This is really hard.
Exactly, but how many Rakic could we have if we had a much bigger investment?
Yes.
How many Maibek Tasumov, how many Roger Grace top athletes we could have if we had more investment?
It's hard. So
what do you think, Richard? For example, what is the way to get this thing better? You know, for example, I see you have a T-shirt of a gym, Malu, where you guys train.
Look, I'm the first 13 years of my life I spent it in big companies. I was in Austria. Some people will remember the company Baumax. It was one of the in the
construction.
DIY construction. I was in marketing there. I had a management position in marketing. Before I was 8 years at Niedermeyer. I think you remember?
Company,
There was the biggest company. Electronic. Yeah. I was in the product management. So what I learned first is, and also studying communication economics. So what my job back in the days was totally different than what I'm doing today. But I use this, what I learned there, economics and marketing, selling, buying, and things like this, for my job now. So of course I'm thinking totally different than another coach or another athlete. This helps me a lot, of course. But the problem is you're fighting against windmills, you know? What is in English? I don't know. Windmills. Oh my God. You're fighting against windmills. So really hard. It's really hard. The biggest problem is, of course, that MMA has this bad taste.
Reputation.
It's bad reputation. Boxing is better because you had also some good boxers in Austria back in the days, European champion, things like this. And you have Muhammad Ali and people who made this sport really, really great, special, something big. Everybody looks up to Muhammad Ali.
Of course, and they should.
In boxing, it's easier to get a sponsor, but it's not so easy to get a sponsor. You can pay a whole camp or something like this. It's also not like this.
Yeah.
MMA, you're fighting in the cage.
No, we are talking about Austria, huh? Because
in America,
even in Brazil, that there are much less money involved. Even in Brazil, you have much more sport.
Yeah, of course.
Exactly.
You have in Poland, you have streetwear, you have supplement companies, you have building companies. Exactly. They pay a lot in this. Exactly. Because why? They have a different culture. The guys in Zagreb at ATT, they have their own fighting event. It's called
Armageddon.
No, the other one,
FNC.
FNC means Fighting Nation Championship. And these words means a lot. So Dražen Forgac, who built this up, I hope I don't say something wrong now, but it doesn't matter.
No, why do you say
Fighting Nation Championship. That means this nation likes to fight and or to stand behind his ideas and traditions, and Croatia, of course, stands for this 100%. It's an amazing, strong country, small but strong. Poland, the same. Austria, is a great country. I live here. I love it. 14 years I'm here. This is one of the best countries to live. It's secure. It's a good place to live. But we are not people like in this time, in this COVID time, in this lockdown time. We don't stand up and say something. Nobody stands up and says something. You see people outside of the street. On Friday I was outside on the street on Taborstrasse. You see a lot of people. A lot. Yeah. This is not a lockdown. But people are quiet. We don't stand up. We are not in Paris or in
London.
In London, there are no riots. Thank God there are no riots.
Yeah, of course.
But we are quiet. We have no sponsors. Doesn't matter. What can I do? I cannot train. Of course you can train.
But what can we do also is a matter of conscience. Is like the community have to work on it. Exactly like I said, yes, you are not gonna drink this. You're gonna drink that.
Yeah, but how we should work? The problem is everybody says we don't get money. How we can train? I have to work. I've seen a lot of fighters stop training, go back to work because they don't get money. They are, for 3 years in the IMS and so
they have to work.
Then they go back to work. Of course, I understand, but it could be work also in a different way. But at the end, you have to do something to get something back. Do a this in Latin. Latin is right. Latin they say.
Latin.
Yeah. You give something and you get something back. It works always like this. So if you don't, how you act in the when you're outside as a fighter. If I say MMA, they say MMA. What's that? I say mixed martial arts. What's that? Is that in the cage? Yeah, it's in the cage, but the cage is more secure than a ring. Just that you know that. Okay, this is without rules. No, it's not without rules. There are a lot of rules, things like this. So people don't know about that, and also the fighters should start to change this
perception
in people. So it's we don't get interviews. Alex is number 4 after this fight against Anthony Smith. This was an amazing fight. Come on. Was a really good fight, but we come back. There's nobody in the airport. There's no interview after this. Only if we call them and say, hey, we were there. Look at this clip, and they say, okay, we will do something. I'll call you next week. They don't call back. Doesn't matter. In Ukraine or in Russia, when the Bellator champion comes home, there are 2,000 people in the airport.
Yeah, probably that
500. There are 500 people in the airport.
Probably that would happen in Belgrade and in Zagreb or in Brazil as well. In Brazil, of course.
No, in Brazil, like the guys go to Japan, the Gracies go to Japan. It's like it.
What happens when Wanderlei Silva or guys like this coming home?
Before the lights goes totally out, I have two more. I have only two more topics. I'm sorry to.
So the
listeners and
sponsors,
spectators.
let's help the podcast here to
Yes,
Donate
let's
something.
sponsor this guy here because he deserves it.
with the bigger batteries for the lights.
No,
for
but,
the
but
spotlight.
not only the battery, but let's make something nice.
Yeah.
The big companies here
I
now should
have
make so
already.
much money. I'm like
I have already 8 or 9 patrons. I mean, so I'm very grateful to all of them for their
YouTube
support.
should start also a system for donation. If you
Yes,
like the
you know,
videos,
Yeah, you can
pay an
donate a
euro.
couple of euros or whatever. Yes, but the problem with the YouTube is that it's so large and so
Yeah.
bright nowadays. I know that you are very active with the YouTube. The problem is tomorrow your video is already gone. You know, you have now really a short period of time to be presented to your viewers. I saw that, like the views that you make in the first couple of days, that's it. And because there is so much content going on everywhere, so you cannot really count on that. So also as a YouTuber, it doesn't matter now if this podcast is going to have 1,000, 10,000 or 100,000 views. This is not going to change nothing in YouTube. I'm not going to earn nothing from YouTube for it, only when you are in the millions and millions and continuously in that, then you can get some money from YouTube.
but people think that you're making good money in YouTube because you have clips with 50,000, 20,000, 100,000 views.
No, you make nothing.
You make
basically.
nothing with
you
this.
make nothing. I have
nothing.
I
I
have
made
this-
with YouTube 60 euros in the last 2 years.
Yes, I have.
62,
Yeah,
sorry.
I have this video with Misha that has almost 1,970,000 views. Only one video,
Yeah.
and many others, but it just doesn't work that way. So the content has to find a way to sponsor itself, but otherwise, at certain point you're gonna get bored. Exactly as the guy who was training MMA for 3 years, but then he had to go back to work. So those are the things we are doing, things that are a little bit out of the box, and we simultaneously with our work we have to find the ways, to make a little business also out of it, so that it can sustain, so that it can prolong, so that it can exist at all. This is one of the things. Another topic that I have is COVID. Like, we live with it already for like 9-10 months. What did it change in your life? Did you experience some changes, some more self-reflecting? How are you guys dealing with it? Because this is not a normal situation. I mean, we don't go out, we don't dance, we don't, we need that. We need that joy of life, this joie de vivre, in order to be healthy and happy and strong.
Yeah.
How are you doing with it, Orlando, for example?
Well, what I realized that not only me, but I saw a lot of people getting a little bit more in contact with the nature.
That's a great thing.
That was a good thing. I think it's a lot of people. For example, here in Vienna, we are lucky that 5 minutes away from the city, we already start forests and a lot of nature in that. So one thing that I never did in my life, and I never was curious about doing it like the way people do, like hiking. Like, I said, what the fuck? I'm gonna do hiking, man. I'm gonna run on the forest, okay, but hiking. I said, is it? And then I went to a sports store here in Mariahstrasse that I'm not gonna say the name because it doesn't sponsor nobody for my sport, so I don't say the name. One big one there in the street, and I went up there at a very big shop, and I said, man, I want a hiking shoes. When I saw was so many people buying hiking shoes, so if people are buying hiking shoes because they want to go to the nature, they want to go hiking, they want to go out of the city, they have less contact with people and have more contact with the nature. So this is a good thing about, I think people are having a lot of self-reflection, having time to make projects. I'm like, I didn't stop. I think that when I come back, my work, my gym has to be better than it was before. You know,
and it has to make more sense. Also,
like I'm having support from my students, so
that's very nice.
I want to give them something back. So when I'm back, I'm gonna be, I don't know how, you know, but I'm gonna be. That was how like happened the first lockdown. We were better, and I don't know how, but when I come back, I'm gonna be better than before. Because
Perfect.
they deserve it, so I'm gonna bring that to them. This one thing, and another thing, I'm trying to be in contact with the nature as much as I can.
Yeah, you and Samantha, you're going very often. I see that.
We are going
Instagram
hiking.
and everywhere.
We are going hiking very often. I bought new shoes special for hiking. I'm a hiker now. I'm a hiker.
Black belt hiker.
Until come the snow. When come the snow,
Nice.
I hope I can go snowboard. I don't know if they're gonna open the lift. I don't know how it's gonna be the situation here in Austria, but I hope I can go snowboarding because it's my hobby. It's what I love. Yeah, I love it.
We were even Orlando and I. We spoke a couple of days ago that we do maybe, if it's gonna be possible, a New Year's Eve, somewhere close to here, maybe in Semmering. You know, we go for 2-3 days skiing or whatever. So Ricardo, if you have a couple of days off around
also
New
good
Year's
to.
Eve,
Can I make a little advertisement here? No.
yes, of course you can.
Okay, we make it once a year. This time we are not gonna make, like this season we are not gonna make, but we are always making a winter camp here in Austria. Like Roger Grace come top trainers from over the world, some Brazilian top trainers, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu trainers that we train Jiu Jitsu and we ski or snowboard and we also party a lot on the Alps of Austria. You took part once.
Yes, I was at the first one. I was
It's
at the
amazing.
second one.
It's
I was at the first one in Tirol. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
We ski during the day. In the evening, we do a little bit jiu-jitsu. Then we go out in the evening.
Yeah.
It's like
it was a lot of fun.
Beautiful
was
camp.
very
Beautiful
nice.
camp.
The people together, the community together. You know, it's like we learn a lot of jiu-jitsu, but we also like reinforce and bring this community even stronger. And that it was very nice time. So if somebody have the opportunity, unfortunately 2000 now this season we are not gonna have it. We're not gonna have, but
beginning of 2022
I hope
we will be hopefully
we
back.
hopefully that we are back with the winter camp also, that we can ski and train jiu-jitsu and that. So you guys just contact me who wanna take part. It's a lot of fun.
Did something change in your life, Ricardo, in these past 9
the lockdown
months? Yes, is it something that
a lot. I would say it's a brutal change. So the first lockdown I took really easy for the first month because was the opportunity for me to stay home. I'm sorry for everybody who had a hard time in this time, but for me, you know, I'm always outside. I work since 25 years. I work since I'm 15, and I work always hard and a lot of hours and a lot of everything. And I was at the first week I said, okay, we stay home. What will you do? It's we have to stay home. I do the best with this. So I had a good time with my girlfriend at home, and I keep working on some projects, writing articles, reading a lot, and meditating. So it was a really good time. But to be honestly, the first lockdown also from this first really good month, it changes into the worst time of my life because you know, guys, I have a son, and he had they checked him and they said we have to do immediately a surgery. You know, once we get a surgery in 1 week.
It was a heart surgery, right?
Yeah, he has a genetic problem with his heart, so this was not the first time in our life, but this time it was special. So I remember I was at home. COVID. I was not allowed to stay with him in the hospital. He has his surgery, like something easy, you know.
Yeah.
Then I was at home meditating in the morning. I had a really good meditation. I was thinking about him, and the sun is coming through the window and all these things. And I had a really good feeling. Everything was fine. And then I finished my meditation. I go out to the living room and checked my phone, and I get the message that he had his heart stops to beat, and they had to No, he
Reanimate.
1 day after the surgery.
Reanimate.
No?
Reanimate.
Yeah, thank you. My God, reanimate him for 1 hour.
Wow,
So
geez.
there the shit starts. So this was then 6-7 weeks on with another 2-3 surgeries and everything. So really hard. So 2-3 weeks he was sleeping, so nobody knows if he ever wakes up again, and who he will be after 60 minutes of reanimation and things like this. So so it turns from a really good time into the worst time of my life. My life is still now it's 40 years, so it's a long period, I would say. Yeah? And after the hospital, you have the rehab, and this took another 1, 2, 3 months. Still, we have to do physiotherapy. This is now over 6 months ago. Then we had the camp with Alex in Zagreb. You know, this is hard work for me. I'm 24/7 around him, and so this year was hard. And you know, I'm not, you know, I'm a little. I would say I'm spiritual. I meditate, and I believe in something bigger than us. And I don't want to go too deep there now, but at the beginning of the year, I had my 40th birthday on the 11th of January 2020. So 11th of January, 11-1. These numbers are gold if you believe in numbers. And 2020, I got 40. So 20 and 20 is 40. So I stood up after New Year's Eve. I said, "Oh my God, look at this number. This is my year. This year is my year. Everything this year will goes in the right direction for me. Everything."
Very nice.
And then this happens to my son, and you know, then you start to think about what this happens here.
Yeah.
It's not what I thought. It's not like the first 2 months of the year. Totally changed. Totally 100%. But then after 2 or 3 months after the hospital, I come back to myself. So I had a really hard time. Nobody knows this. Only 2-3 guys knows this. I had a really hard time, and you know, the hardest time of my life is here's the end. I would say I was here, and 2-3 months later, when I come back to myself, stop drinking a lot of alcohol. For example, it's okay to talk about this.
Of course, it's okay because you needed to find a way in such a difficult. There is probably nothing worse than when your child is severely sick, right? So you were looking for an escape, right?
That's it. This is a compensation.
Yeah.
But one day you wake up and you realize this is not the way you can do it for the rest of your life. Some people would do it, but you know this is not right. Hopefully people get help in this situation. I didn't get help. I helped myself because I don't know. This is the way I work. Yeah. This is the way I do it, and I come back I come back to myself, restarting a lot of meditation. I took 2 weeks off. I was in the forest with a camper with my girlfriend. Best 2 weeks, one of the best 2 weeks in my life, 100%. And I come back to myself, and after this I'm much stronger than before. The time with my son has much more quality. I believe in a different way. I work in a different way. I stop doing things they are not useful for me. Like I don't have social media on my phone. Don't spend time in this like you. It's waste of time. For 30 minutes on Instagram, I can spend these 30 minutes for my son because it's thank something big that he is here today. So this is totally different. So COVID and Corona is a bad thing, but in this bad thing, something really bad happens for me personally. I know people lost other people everywhere in the world. This is not good. But for a lot of people, things changing to positive things. Like people going to the forest, start to meditate, think about what they're doing, if they spend their time for the right things, and this is good. This is the good part. On every dark thing, there's something. Yeah, there's something new. There's light. In every dark room, one day the door opens and light will be there. So this happens to me, and now life is great again.
Nice.
And
Thank
it's
God.
better than before.
Yes, thank God in the first place your son Philip is recovering well.
He's
and,
amazing.
Yes,
He's unbreakable.
absolutely.
He has 6 or 7 surgeries in his life on his heart, and
I love
3
it.
heart
I love
attacks.
Philip. He's such a great kid.
It's amazing.
Nice.
Nobody can survive this. In our age, nobody would survive
Yeah, I
this.
know.
What he
And
survived.
he's still so very positive.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to see that and to know it that he has this positivity from you,
Yeah.
because this year, whenever we met, knowing through how hard situation you were going through, you were in my eyes always someone who was with a smile on his face and very optimistic towards the future. And this is not easy when you have really such a situation, it's not fucking easy. It's
Just one thing, this is not easy. In this time in the rehab, my son was sitting in a wheelchair for 1 month, and I was out with him on the street with the wife of my brother. She's my oldest friend, I don't know, 25 years also, longer. And imagine you have 20 minutes to say as many bad words as you can. And I did that in a walk. It was not a mental walk. I was just, this was 2 weeks after the hospital, and I realized, oh my God, I'm not myself. So I just, the life is like a wave. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad.
Yeah.
But the good times will come back, and you can manifesting this. You can pull them. The good days, you can think positive. This is, when people say, "Oh, come on, think positive," and people say, "Stop saying this to me. Think positive. That's bullshit." No, it's not. You can think positive, and you're.
Yes, you can decide actually.
You decide
in which direction your thoughts you want to go, right?
Yeah, right.
The nature always help, huh? Nature.
Yes, yes. I think that we have so much in common. We are. All 3 of us are fathers, and we like the life, all of ours. We love the sports. We are into it. For me, it's such a huge pleasure. Not only pleasure, it's an honor to have you guys as friends, and to can call you friends. Orlando, I can even call Mestre, like my jiu-jitsu master, and it's. And my desire is actually, and my wish is that the people who are listening to this right now are going to get this positive vibe, that at least we can influence their life a little bit in a direction of some positivity, of the hope for the better days, because the better days are going to come. They always do, it's the sun is going to shine again, and it's important to remind ourselves on that. This is that thing positive, nothing else. It's not a big mambo jumbo, right? It's not big mambo.
It's nature. After dark, the light comes.
Yes,
every
always.
morning.
And I'm so happy, that we all 3 have discovered in the last year how this connection and love to the nature for us important is, because this is what happened to me, together with Susanna. I went with the van, with the camper, exactly as you with your girlfriend, through the whole southern Europe, we've been, all 3 of us, everyone on his side, we were swimming in some beautiful lakes and in the sea and experiencing the sky full of stars. After we almost have forgotten for some period of time that exists out there, so actually this whole pandemic gave us a little bit opportunity, to search in a different direction, when the restaurants are closed and the clubs are closed and the shops are closed and the gyms are closed and everything is closed, and what are you going to do? You're going to sit at home and be depressed, or you're going to try to find some other ways.
Yeah, it's hard. It's really hard. You cannot be. There are 8 billion people in the world, We cannot give advice to everybody like restaurants are closed, shops are closed, doesn't matter, go out in the nature. This is easy to say, and we believe in this. Yes, we believe in this. But it's easy to say, but for some people it's not possible. They cannot go out of the flat, and they have their normal routine. Like they took, I know people like this. They go every day to this restaurant, have their meal midday because they cannot cook at home. They don't have friends. They have this 60 minutes when they have the meal to talk to the waiter, and go back home, and that's it. So there are people having a social system like this. A hard time, and now in COVID, for them is brutal. And what we don't understand is, look at the blue zones. These zones where the people are getting more than 100 years old. Yeah, what they have is people talking about nutrition and fitness. Great, that's nice. They don't have nutrition. Of course they have food, but they don't have a diet. They don't have a fitness plan. They just walk out the hills like you. But what they have is a community. They have a strong family. Sardinia, Greek, Icaria, Okinawa. They eat together. They smile together. They have fun and everything. And now you take this away from them. Like the Italian president says, this year you will not have a big Christmas party. What?
Yeah, they can't live without it. This is in our nature. We need that.
Yeah,
we need this social structure and hugs and
100% right.
And people you believe in on your side. People from your family or from your tribe or from your whatever you can call it. You know.
Take this away from people like jiu-jitsu. You have this body contact. This is as a reason for many people why they do this. They don't know it. But they like it. Yeah. This is normal. We touch each other. Sensual touch is something important for people.
It's unconscious, but it's there.
Take this away from a kid, from a child.
Yeah, that kind of play.
This will be an amazing problem, a big problem.
Yes. So let's hope this is all gonna end up very soon, and a lot of people are gonna go into the combat sports to train them as a
for sensual touch.
Pure recreation, whatever, you know, and any other sport. Or Orlando's his favorite hiking now.
We have to go together. Hiking is my favorite.
I love hiking too. You know, it's a beautiful.
He's just starting to want to compete.
No. I know. I never do competition and things like we go to swimming, Wim Hof system, whatever.
Yeah.
On Saturday, 10 o'clock, we go to Hirstettner.
You went this weekend?
Yeah, this weekend not, but last one.
Okay.
You know, this weekend I was home, but last weekend I was there, and the first thing I said to Alex is, brother, this is not a competition.
Yes.
Because they start shit talk like, you trained for that and things like this. That's funny. Yeah. But this is not competition. We are here for better recovery, to make brief
breathing
exercises, to be together. It's Sunday, 10 o'clock. Everybody knows this. You be there or not. But we do together. It's like jiu-jitsu, it's like CrossFit. It's a group. It's social. Yeah. So we do it together. And if someone decides to go out from the water after 10 minutes, this is not a problem.
Yes, it actually doesn't matter. The teaching of Wim Hof is that actually 2 minutes are already enough to achieve that which you have to achieve in ice. Because you want to achieve that mental state. How do your mind reacts when you are in such an extreme situation? Yeah, do you know how to calm down and to become one with that all experiences that you have or not? If you can't do it in 2 minutes, you can't do it in 10 as well. You're just gonna freeze your butt.
You don't have to stay inside the water to show how hard you are. This is the wrong way. Like doing a sparring against the hardest guys and just try to survive. Don't do this. This is not about jiu-jitsu, or this is not about Wim Hof cold water therapy. You go in, you be part of this element, and it's not spiritual. The body is 75% water. You can be part of this on a let's say emotional level or whatever. You can be part of it. Breathe with the water. Stay inside as long as you like, and then go out
and relax. And try to be in a flow with that which you're doing.
That's right.
Because this is in jiu-jitsu also the main principle, right?
No doubt. My masters, they do that. Many of my friends, they do this often.
Yeah.
The cold water, and it's amazing.
It's amazing.
Jiu-jitsu, like since from the past, like we were like the surfing and the jiu-jitsu were very connected. And the cold water. I have a friend. He live and he teach. Felipe Gargamel. He teach in Norway.
Norway, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he's now in winter. He's surfing every day. Now are the best waves.
Really?
Of course, he has very good clothes, but he's
Yes.
surfing every day.
Yeah.
Every day he's surfing.
Yeah.
For
I
him,
heard in Ireland is also good waves.
in Norway, yeah.
Better?
In Norway, very good
Yeah.
ones. Very good ones.
Didn't know that.
Wow.
In his place there, man, he loves. He's surfing every day. Of course, the clothes nowadays they have very special
Yeah.
clothes. Very good nowadays. They are
Yeah.
wonderful. But anyway, the water come on the face. It's like a rock, man.
By the way,
It hurts.
Fresh.
by the way,
It's fresh.
Gargamel always comes to the winter camps as well.
Last Winter Cup, we almost went to the water, remember?
Yes,
but
with
then,
Gaia, with the friend.
then you guys partied too much, didn't wake up.
Yeah, I always party too much. I always
Yeah,
party too
but next camp is gonna have
But I
cold
like
water.
much.
Next camp, cold water for sure. Huh?
Yes, of course.
But you have been in Serbia in Wim Hof
Yes,
workshop or
yes,
something
yes,
like this?
many times.
I
many
saw some
times.
videos.
Yeah, many
Nikola
times.
Radin.
Many times. I love it, you know. I unfortunately, you know, I am not so disciplined as you are to do the cold showers every day in the morning and stuff like this. I like to sleep a little bit longer in the morning. I don't have that wonderful routine you have. You're waking up every day at 5 or something like this, you told me.
Yeah, but you have to think about your chronotypes. So this the one of the biggest problems in Austria is that everybody thinks there is a system that works for everybody.
Everybody.
So that
that's
this
true.
is this Austrian concept.
No.
You wake up at 6:30 lately, then you go to work for at 8
9
o'clock,
to 5.
work until 5,
Yeah,
and
go to
then
gym.
you eat at 12, then you do this, you do that, and that's bullshit. The problem is you have your chronotypos and I have mine. So you perform
Adapt.
much better when you sleep a little bit longer, but
That's
you don't perform. I don't perform better than you.
That's true.
There's no difference. You do your things, I do my things, but you do it later. It's the same quality, the same level, whatever. But you
Yeah.
work longer.
Yeah.
For example, around 10 p.m., I think about the bed lately.
Yes.
There's nothing better. But the big problem also with big companies in Austria is everybody thinks you only have discipline if you show up at 8 o'clock in the
Yeah.
office.
Yeah.
And that's not right. I could also show up at 10 o'clock in the office and be a better employee.
Yes.
Then the guy who arrived at 6, maybe.
Yeah,
Yes,
totally
for
right.
sure.
So the routine is important, but not the time. So,
So you think the most important thing is to find the right routine that
Yes.
suits you.
absolutely.
And who cares if you're going to do your meditation at 6 in the morning or at 10 in the
Doesn't
morning,
matter.
you know, or
Doesn't
whatever,
matter.
man.
Of course, it's better to meditate after waking up because you had this clean. But if you don't have time because of the kids or you have to rush to work or whatever,
Yeah, you do it.
doesn't matter. You do it later. And breaking the day with a meditation, of course, cleans also your head. Don't use this meditation thing because this word has a bad taste in the mouth of many people.
Many people, yeah, they think they connect it immediately with something religious, with some
Yeah,
right.
it's
With some-
recovery. Let's take
Yeah.
your recovery session or whatever. Yeah? It's just sitting there and thinking about
Very
nothing,
nice.
or praying to God, or it doesn't matter which religion. Also,
Slowing down your
Yeah.
thoughts,
Yeah.
slowing down your breathing
Yes.
patterns.
here the Four Seasons from
Exactly.
Vivaldi, 45
Hearing
minutes,
the-
whatever. This is-
Exactly.
all of these things are recovery strategies, and doesn't matter which time you're doing this. Yeah,
And how are you doing it? If it's pray or meditation or listening to the classical
or
music,
Wim Hof
whatever,
breathing or
or
whatever.
Wim Hof breathing or whatever it is. or
Just
cold
do
shower.
something.
Guys, we can sit here like till the morning light, but we have to end it up at a certain point. It was for me, really, as I said, not only pleasure but honor to have you in Nikola Radin Way podcast in this 40th episode. I hope that the people who were listening to this really enjoyed it because you guys were a great company, and thank you very much for that. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, brother.
Thank you a lot. And Thank you, Richard, for the new hat.
Yes,
You're always welcome.
yes, I got one.
Yeah. And I hope one day we make the part 2. There is a lot to talk still.
Yes, of course we will.
Of
course. As soon as the lockdown is over, then we go back to my studio. You know, we do another one in the studio. You know, this is like a very improvised one.
Thanks to everybody out there.
Thank our camera gel.
Thank you, guys.
It was my big pleasure to join you.
Thank you,
And,
Suzichka. This
I
is now.
wouldn't really
Now it
forget
That was on the plan?
This
No,
minutes.
No, no.
behind the camera.
That was her
That
plan.
was her plan.
Yeah.
right?
This is for salad.
And yeah, just put it on your handphone.
Okay, let's
Yeah.
check it out.
Yes. Okay. Like this.
Susan is actually working with this.
Yeah, my son had a
Let's
session
do
with her.
Good vibes
With Susan?
to us to come.
What are we supposed to feel now?
Where or what?
Your heart.
In our heart?
Everywhere. It's
Is this is this kind of an erotic technique or
it
it's
can
just
be.
it can be as
Tantra
well.
I
balls.
don't know. Every day when I'm working with this, so everybody is reacting differently, you know. So, but
Okay.
what your body needs,
Yes?
it will come because each of these singing bowls, Tibetan bowls, it's called. Okay, it's different. It's the vibrations, frequency, and sound.
This could be a recovery session.
Very relaxed.
Very-
Very relaxed.
It is very
I was
relaxing.
thinking to join you, for example, to these mountains and skiing, and after the training,
Yes.
go down because I will.
This can be actually very useful in the recovery of athletes.
Yeah.
The Tibetan singing bowl, so-called massage.
Yeah.
Of course, then the athletes are not sitting like this; they're laying on the
Yeah.
ground, you know, and there is a
Yeah.
whole process how to do it and how
And
to
Orlando is
feel
not there.
all these frequencies.
Well, I've
Thank
done
you,
this
man.
with my
Thanks
son.
a lot.
Namaste.
Hey,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys once again for being here, and
Thank you
thank you
very
all
much.
for watching Nikola
Bye.
Radin channel. Bye bye.
Bye bye.